Sorry, this water.
You just apologized as the stream started.
Oh, sorry. I'm about to turn off the water so you can hear better.
You're all good. If anyone can actually hear the water in the background, that's my wife doing the dishes, as you can see. Beautiful, beautiful human just there that she is. That's Socks as well, the cat. And I am the Anxious Squid here at Anxious Squid Productions. So if you've tuned into the live stream, sorry I said it was going to be at 9:30 and it was actually at, 9:45, but here we are. I paid 75 cents for this can of beer, right? It's called a Natural Light Strawberry and Lemonade Drinking Beer, apparently. It's for those who like all of those things. And to be honest with you, it tastes like it cost 75 cents as well. In case you didn't see, or in case you haven't seen, I uploaded like 3 or 4 videos today. Uploaded an XFL video way earlier in the day at about 10 a.m., the XFL fails one. If you're here for the Q&A, skip to 5 minutes. Skip ahead to 5 minutes because I'm going to be chatting and waiting for people to get in that point. It's 1 minute and 16 seconds for those of you who can't see at the minute. But yeah, if you're going to watch just for the Q&A at some point, like at a later point, skip to the 5 minute mark because I'm going to chat a bit of shit until people get here. But yeah, I have 23 questions currently, and I'm sure they will delve out into more questions from my subscribers and people in the comments section once we get going and going and going, But in case you didn't see, we found out the gender of that little bump, this little doohickey. He's a he, he's a boy, and whatnot. Your face is not on screen currently. Yeah.
I was showing off the belly.
Yeah.
That's what I work, so.
Yeah.
They don't
good.
look the best.
You look amazing. What are you talking about? But yeah, so it's gonna be a boy. He's gonna be a boy, not it. But you know what I'm saying. Super exciting, super cool. Now we've got one of each because Sophie, the 5-year-old is 5, obviously, and is a girl. So 1 girl and 1 boy thus far. We're doing well. We're pretty happy with that. We're pretty stoked. Yeah, there's not much more that can be said on that front. We're having a boy. That's really, really exciting. I posted a video about it on YouTube in the announcements playlist. So once we're finished here with the stream and everything, you can go and click over to that and check that out as well. Because what's life without content, right? Content, and all that. I just saw a comment coming in saying meow. There's Socks. Wonder if she's getting primed to be on or if she wants to just jump down. Molly was getting under my feet earlier and I was like, what? Are you going to put some incense on, babe? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think one of the cats just shat just as I was sitting down to do the live stream as well because, it's like it doesn't matter what you do. When you own 4 cats, not that I own them, we just live in this universe at the same time and they happen to be in my little space and whatnot. But yeah, no, the what was I saying? 4 at once, you can pretty much be guaranteed that they're gonna, as soon as you sit down to eat or as soon as you sit down to focus on something in particular, one of the cats is going to take it upon themselves to stink the fucking house up. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot be doing anything for hours on end, perfect time to clean out the litter as it happens. And then as soon as you're doing something, bang.
I think it smells like
yeah, it's a bit pea smelly, isn't it? Yeah, but anyway, you guys don't need to know about the smell. The strawberry, I wish I could show you some of this taste, babe. This strawberry and lemonade beer. Like, it's got flamingos all over it, which is interesting. I don't know if you guys can see the can as well, but yeah, I've never had it before. Not a fan. Probably wouldn't have got it if it was more expensive than 75 cents. But it's a big, and it's 4-something%, so it's not too bad. But yeah, we're hitting 4 minutes and 30 seconds now, so I should start, tuning back in and getting all serious again about the question and answer and stuff. But yeah, just to recap, we're having a boy. We haven't really picked a name for him yet. We've got 2 or 3 that are floating about in our minds and that we've chatted about, but we haven't really nailed down a plan as yet. you know, as soon as we do, you'll know. You guys are my mates enough after all. But yeah, 5 minutes for those that were watching on delay or that are watching in the future at some point. Like, I mean, hell, my son might be watching in the future at some point, far enough in the future and stuff. G'day, mate, if you are. How funny is my beard or my hair or whatever it is? How young do I look and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I've got questions, right? So when if you're new to the channel or newish to the channel, you might not have realized that when I hit 150 subscribers, I did a question and answer, like a video where I answered questions. That's what a question and answer video is. And then I doubled the amount and was like, all right, when I get, you know, if and when I hit 300, I'll do another one then. And then that happened. So I did another one. And so I doubled the amount and I was like, all right, if and when I get to 600, you know, I'll do another question and answer there. And that happened. And so I did. And yeah, and at that point I was laughing and I said, all right, well, we'll keep going with the theme. You know, when I get to 1200, if and when I get to 1200, and I was laughing and being like that, or, you know, that might never happen sort of thing. And that was like 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago or something. So things are going well. Things are booming in that sense. They're going on the up and up. And here we are at 1200. I'm at like 1216 or 1217 now or something. The XFL videos that I've been posting have given me a little spurt, a little burst. I'm getting, you know, on average 8 or 9 subs a day now. Whereas, you know, for the month of January, I was getting about 3 or 4 on average per day. So that's a fun little burst and a fun little impact. And I reckon, to be honest, we'll probably do the next question and answer at 2,400 because I like the system that we've got going, you know, double it. It might take a bit longer, you know, the more we do, because getting to 1,200 has taken us 8 or 9 months as a channel. And so doubling it may be another 8 or 9 months until we see each other again in this sort of question and answer direct format. But it may not be as well. It may just sort of steamroll, and there's a word for it. There's like, it's a concurrent growth or something, you know. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to get into the question and answers. There are some repetitive questions in here from previous question and answers. So if you're an OG day one fan, if you're somebody like CJ or something like that who's probably, you know, seen all of the question and answer videos already, then there are going to be some questions that are boring for you. If you're watching this not on the live stream, but in the banked up playlists and stuff like that, I will, in the description, in an edited description, not the one that's like default gone up as is at the minute, but in the edited description, I will do question 1 at this point, question 2 at this point, question 3 at this point, and go from there. You know, that might take me a couple of days to get around to it. So if I haven't actually done that while you're watching this, sorry for making promises I don't fulfill, but you know, you're used to me by now, I'm sure. I really should have got a water instead of that beer. That's how much I'm like, meh. But anyway, question number 1 was, why did you move to America? And there's a couple of different answers to that question. The first answer being because America's dope. America's really cool. I like it here, and they're you know, it's one of the best countries in the world in pretty much every statistic you can measure. Oh, thanks, babe. How good's that? You say something and it just appears.
It's magic.
Oh, it's magic. Anyway, that is why I moved to America, in a nutshell, to be with her. She could have lived in a submarine at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and I'd have moved there, you know. So it's you know, in essence, my wife's American. Well, she wasn't yet my wife, but yeah, I wanted to be with her, and I wanted to be in the space that she occupied, and that happened to be America. So that's why I moved here. Number 2, are you enjoying living in America? Absolutely, best time of my life. It's weird to say, but it's like, you know, anyone, change is difficult no matter who you are or where you are and all that sort of stuff. But I felt like I could just dispel the negative aspects of my personality that, you know, there are some things that you do, even you would do, you know, faithful listener or person that's watching this, you know, that you go, fuck, I wish you didn't do that. That's a pain in the ass. I only do that because I've always done that. You know what I mean? And I could just abandon all of the things once I got to America, because it was, you know, I got to define who I was and how I was. And what are you doing, huh? You guys are going to pounce at each other? One of the cats is just about to attack the other one. Oi, leave her alone. Come here. Yeah, come over here. Come over here. Come on, jump. You can make it to me. You don't need to go to the floor and up. All right, go to the floor and up. Come on. Come on. There you go. That sucks. She and I have developed a little, and now she's gone again. Never mind. All right, you want to come back up now that I'm comfy again? You coming or are you going? Make up your mind. All right, whatever. Yeah, are you enjoying living in America? Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I could not enjoy life any more than I currently am. I became the person I wanted to be. What are they doing there? Oh, she's attacking the toy. That's mad. I wonder if you can see that. Nah, that would have been good content. But I'll shut up and stop talking about the cat. Yes, I am enjoying living in America. Absolutely. Not just because of the opportunity to be who I am and to be how I am and to be the happiest version of myself, but because of all the actual tangible things that are different here and that are happening here. You know, like my kid's about to be born here. My son is about to be born here. So that's all, you know, very, very cool and kind of like I'm not quite able to put it into words as yet. But yeah, what's your favorite thing about America? I'll stop talking about my direct family and you know, because that's a given, that my wife is amazing and all that sort of stuff, you know, like take it as read that she's my favorite thing about America. But my favorite thing in general about America, more broadly speaking, would probably be sport, which isn't surprising to anyone that's watching this on this live stream because of the different, you know, I think I've got 5 different sports reactions playlists on the channel. And yeah, I think that just you're pretty much guaranteed to find a sport on at any given moment in America, whether that is, you know, I really have to blow my nose. Give me a sec. Yeah. I'm like trying to get away with not touching it. Fuck's sake. All right, I'm back. I don't know what it is. Seems to happen to Joe Biden a lot on the Democratic debate stages as well. It's like you start talking a bunch and your nose runs. But yeah, anyway, where was I there? What's your favorite thing about America? Probably the sheer amount of sport and the sheer amount of interest in sport as well. You know what I mean? It's like you can literally not have any skill to play the sport whatsoever, but you can find someone to have a chat with about that sport and they won't just, you know, push you off to the side because you didn't play it at the highest level or something like that. Like it's a real bringer together of people. It's an ultimate leveler. I think that sport is, yeah, it's much more prevalent than I thought it would be, despite my knowledge of the fact that college systems and college sport was a thing. I didn't realize just how ingrained it is in society here. You know what I mean? What do you miss most about home? Probably Aussie rules or cricket, the 2 sports I liked. Again, that's not mentioning, you know, my mum and my sister and my niece and my nephew and all that sort of stuff. Family is obvious, you know, the actual people and stuff. I miss them a lot. I miss the trees, which is going to sound weird, but the gum trees in particular and the squiggly butt and like just the bush out on a hike and stuff like that. It's a very unique topography and a very unique landscape and yeah, it's just interesting, and you don't really realize how unique and special Australia is until you've been to various different parts of the world, as I have, and you go, fuck, they don't have this anywhere else, you know? Like, there's good views everywhere, but there's not that shape and that shade and all that sort of stuff, you know? So it's unique in that sense. But to be honest with you, like, this is probably going to sound really bad, but, like, I'm enjoying myself and I'm enjoying my time here, and life in general is pretty sweet. I don't really have time for much missing of anything, you know what I mean? Like all the shit that I love about home was people related, and all of those people communicate with me on a daily basis anyway. And it's not like I'm missing out on a communication thing. Like, yeah, it'd be nice to hug my mum, obviously. You know, it'd be cool to give her a hug and stuff and have a chat with her. But I can chat with her on the phone and we FaceTime a lot. So it's not that big a deal, you know. I'd rather, as I said, I'd have gone to the bottom of the Mariana Trench to be with Shannon, and I'm with Shannon. Like, I've got what I want, so I don't really miss all that much, you know. Question number 5: who do you support in the XFL, NFL, NHL, MLB, NBA, and college? So the XFL, I haven't picked a team yet. Same as the NFL. I told everyone, I kept moving the goalposts on when I was going to watch the NFL or when I was going to pick an NFL team, because I watched the NFL this whole season. You know, I watched at least one game every weekend. So the XFL wise, see, there we go again with the cat shitting again. But anyway, XFL wise, I haven't picked a team, but I'm going to support the league in general. You know, I think the first spare $60 I have, like, the jerseys are relatively cheap, and the first spare $60 or $70 I have, I'm going to buy an XFL jersey. So if you've picked a team and you've got a spare 50 or 60, feel free to chuck it into a super chat or join my Patreon. Absolutely. I'm not beyond begging and whatnot, but yeah, like, you know, I'd love a jersey from the XFL. I think I'm going to work my way through as I get disposable income drip fed into me, and as we go along, I'm probably going to buy a jersey for every team and just sort of be an XFL fan, you know. But I can't say I was a day one NFL fan. I can't say that, you know, I have this fierce loyalty with any specific team either. But like, I feel like I'm learning and I'm developing a sort of a loyalty to XFL just because I think it's cool, you know, and I think it's interesting, and I think it needs it needs people to be into the game, you know, as at this early stages as well. So who do you support in the XFL? Everyone. Who do you support in the NFL? The main teams I focused on were the Bills, the Chiefs, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. The Vikings as well in there, I guess. Mostly the three I watched specifically were the Bills, the Vikings, and the Seahawks. But then at the second half of the year, when it became apparent that Patrick Mahomes was like phenomenal, after I'd watched the Patrick Mahomes video, I started looking into the Chiefs a bit as well and seeing how they were doing each weekend. And yeah, like it's an interesting game. I really like it. It's a really good game. But it's, you know, like, I feel like there is that extra polish there on top that, you know, it's a better game than the XFL, but it'd want to be with all the fucking millions they're getting for it, right? You know, that makes sense. If I had, you know, if somebody had a gun to my head and said, pick a freaking NFL team, you have to pick one, I'd probably pick the Bills because I'm closest to the Bills Stadium here in Niagara Falls and all that sort of stuff. But that being said, of course, I am. Yeah, absolutely. Praise the dab gods. Love it. But yeah, you know, it'd probably be the Bills, but again, I don't want to alienate a fan base or anything like that either, or the Squid base or the Squid squad. I liked the Bills a lot this season, but I already know I'm going to be watching the Packers a lot this season based on the hat you sent me, CJ. And I don't know if you just saw, but I uploaded a video about Aaron Rodgers as well, not new quarterback, but the quarterback that replaced Favre. That's not new by any stretch of the imagination anymore. But yeah, I did a video on him and I like him. So I'll probably be watching a lot of Packers football next season as well. NHL, I have about 5 different teams that I follow. I have that nagging feeling of, I've got to watch the Rangers. Each time the Rangers play, they're the team that I'm going to go, you know, that I would go into bat for. I'm a big Rangers fan, and that was because I got sucked in when I was at Madison Square Garden. Like, I don't think anyone could go as a impartial supporter to a Rangers game at Madison Square Garden and not come out as a Rangers fan. You know what I mean? They do that game day experience fucking phenomenally. You know, like it's brilliant. So my introduction to NHL though was via the Arizona Coyotes and a person that used to sit next to me at work and all that sort of stuff. So it's like. And then, yeah, they fucked over Shane Doan. And, you know, he wanted one more year on his contract. He'd scored over 20 goals that year, and he'd only ever played for them ever. he wasn't going to go play for anywhere else. And they said, yeah, no, we don't need you. We don't want you. So that really annoyed me. And it coincided with the same year that Vegas came in. And so I was like, fuck it. I'm a jump ship, be a Vegas fan. And so I was, looking into the Coyotes and the Golden Knights and learning about hockey and all that sort of stuff. And then when I came over for a holiday to New York City, I was like, fuck it, Madison Square Garden. Like I would watch, people throw darts. I would watch people pick the wings off flies. It wouldn't bother me, like if there was a competitive something happening at Madison Square Garden, I was going to watch it because it's fucking Madison Square Garden, right? Just so happened to be a Las Vegas Golden Knights versus Rangers game. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to go in as a Golden Knights fan, because what if somebody comes up to me and wants to talk about it and I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about and I look like a dickhead sort of thing, right? So went in as an impartial fan, walked out as a Rangers fan because of how amazing it was. But now I live close to Buffalo. I also own some Sabres, like some Sabres jerseys and stuff like that, out of respect for the local area and all that sort of stuff. Like I've gone to some Sabres games, but man, like they make it hard to support them. You know what I mean? The Sabres are not a good team at the moment. And like I pity them, because it's like you learn about the game, everything you know about the game and everything you look into about the game, you can see that there are people there that want the team to do well. There are people that like, get down, Cleo. Get the fuck down. Thank you. You're not allowed up there. It's a cat tree. Is there the word dog in cat tree? Can you hear the word dog when I say cat tree? I can't. It's not for you, little cutie. Anyway, yeah, like I can't bring it in myself to say I'm a Sabres fan because of how woeful they've been playing, and it seems like ownership don't give a shit. The coach is doing his bit to try and, polish the turds that he's got. Jack Eichel does his bit. Reinhart does all right. Like everyone's saying Reinhart's the second best player on the team, but they were saying that about Jeff Skinner last year as well. It's the person who's on the other wing with Jack Eichel is the second best player in the team because of how good Jack Eichel is, Without Jack Eichel, there'd probably be about fucking 2 players on that team, I reckon. They'd bunch of coasters. I don't know what you call them in American sports, but Jack Eichel's carrying the team without a doubt in the Sabres market, and I have very little disposable income. I'm not going to waste it on a team that clearly doesn't give a fuck if people like them or not. They're just out there to sell tickets because there's enough dedication that people will go regardless of what product they put on the ice. Far be it from me to be an armchair quarterback or an armchair expert or whatever, but it's, I feel like the general manager, Jason Botterill, doesn't know what he's doing, and the ownership doesn't know that he doesn't know what he's doing, and so they just keep going in fucking circles and getting new coach after new coach and not realizing that the actual issue is the guy hiring the fucking coaches, But anyway, this is a really long answer to this question. Who do you support in the XFL? Everyone. Who do you support in the NFL? Bills and Packers and Seahawks. Who do you support in the NHL? Rangers, Coyotes, Golden Knights, and Sabres. Who do you support in the Major League Baseball? I haven't picked a team yet. I'm wary of picking the Yankees. I've got a lot of Yankees merch just because I used to think it was just a random, generate, New York, general New York logo, if that makes sense. But everyone keeps telling me if you go for the Yankees, it's like going for the house in a casino. And I'm like, I don't know how true that is, obviously if there's no salary cap, there's no salary cap, and some teams have bigger war chests to go after players than others. But again, that's not the Yankees' fault that they have money. It is their fault that they have money, but you'd spend it if you could. I don't buy the argument of, oh yeah, they just buy their championships. Fucking oath they do, and absolutely well within their rights they should, if they've got the fucking cash to spend, let them spend it how they want, But I don't know, I'm leaning towards the Rockies as well because I really like their arena, their ground, and it's a really cool excuse to go and check out Colorado again on a holiday, you know what I mean? Get some good content filming while I'm in Colorado, that'd be dope. See some baseball while I'm there, that'd be cool. NBA wise, again, haven't picked a team. I don't even know who my wife's team are, who she supports. But I'm getting into basketball. Every basketball video I watch, I'm like, wow, this is cool. And they have some really cool team names as well. I was looking at the teams that were playing the other night, and it was there was Mavericks, there was Grizzlies, there was Pelicans, like real imaginative names. And I reckon the uniforms and the jerseys would be cool. And I'm probably gonna, delve into that side of things as well at some point over the year, because me, I'm trying to get 4 videos out every day. I'll get to the basketball content, absolutely, but yeah, I haven't really picked a team on that level yet either. Send me a hat, they'll be my team, you know what I mean? In college ball, like, there's just so many teams to pick from. That's a bit excessive. I don't know, like I haven't at all looked into the colleges nearby me, but I'm gonna look into the colleges nearby me and have a look into what sports they offer and what sport programs they have, and try and get the local sport passion out that way, so I don't have to be a Bills fan, but or a Sabres fan. But the Bills have got a lot of promise. I don't mind the Bills so much. Like, the Sabres actively make me not want to watch the hockey game when I watch them play. Like, it's a mission to watch a whole Sabres game. But the Bills is entertaining to watch. You don't really know what's going to happen because it's still a bit rough around the edges, but I reckon Josh Allen's got a lot more upside than people give him credit for. And I think he's still, coming into his boots as well. He's still filling out, and he'll get there. Next question, though. Where do you think you'd play position-wise in each of them? XFL/NFL, I'd be a punter because I know how to kick a football. A punter or a kicker. And I know how to, generally speaking, like, run where the person that's delivered the football is telling you to run. Like, somebody can kick it 20 meters in front of me. If they've kicked it right, I'll get there and I'll catch it. So I think that would probably be roughly the same, in essence, like the judgment of where the ball's going to land based on how he's thrown it and when and what speed and all that sort of stuff. I reckon I'd be able to catch a long ball as well. So I wouldn't mind, maybe wide receiver, maybe a punt return, because I like that and I like running, but I'm not very fast either. So who knows? NHL, I'd be an offensive defenseman because I like defense. I've got a defense first mentality, but sometimes your best offense is a really, really good defense and somebody coming from that angle of defense. So that's where I think I'd play. Major League Baseball, I would like to say shortstop, but probably I'm not that good. I want to be the guy that's right in it and that's sort of just got to react like on instinct, and it's like, if you're not reacting on instinct and getting it, it's past you. That's a cool position in the field that I reckon I'd like to play. NBA wise, I don't know what all the positions are, but like a person in the middle that's not necessarily like big on scoring points or big on defending points, but can do it both sort of reasonably well, and whose main trait is like getting the ball in the middle of the court. I feel like I'd be able to intercept passes or like make the center of the court my bitch, but I'm far too short to do anything anywhere near the rim, and college, as I said, who knows, like across all those sports. What's your political affiliation? That's a good question. That's question number 7, is what's your political affiliation? And I mean, it's hard to say because I wouldn't, in Australia, I would say I believe in generally speaking, I would have believed in the Labor Party, who were the left of centre, not conservative minded, in that sort of sense of the two major parties. I mean, they're both conservative and they're both actually centre right, much like America's system here. The party that gets branded as left wing actually isn't anywhere near as left wing as they should be in order to earn that title. But that's another question altogether. But in American politics, I haven't picked a team, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a matter of, I'm affiliated with these guys and I'm going to go with everything they say is right all the time for me, you know what I mean? I feel like political affiliation, I feel like that's a loaded question and I don't really know what the answer to it is, because I would not vote for Trump, no matter who wins the Democratic election. Like, I can't vote either way. It doesn't matter. Don't worry. I'm speaking of hypotheticals here. I would not vote for Trump in the next general election if I was allowed to vote. Well, that's probably, it's a bit too soon to say that, like, because if he's going up against Elizabeth Warren or he's going up against Joe Biden, like, it's looking increasingly likely like that won't be the case, which is good. But if he was going up against either one of those two, I probably would have voted for him. I probably would have, I almost definitely would have voted for him against Hillary Clinton. Like, I know a lot of people say that the Electoral College didn't work and that, Hillary was the lesser of two evils, but that's just not the case. If you look into the two individuals on their own merits, like, yes, he's a chauvinistic, like misogynistic, xenophobic, you know, anti-immigration sort of dude, and he does a lot of things that make my life hard. But like, you know, we're not at war with Iran. We're not at war. We haven't tried to invade it. Like, there's lots of different conversations we could have about how Hillary was not the lesser of two evils. And I'm new here, and I can see that, you know. So it depends, I guess, is my answer. It depends on what topic we're talking about. You know, I believe in a woman's right to choose. I believe in socially what you would call socially liberal sort of things. You know, like, not only do I think that weed should be legal and available at the chemist, I think that anyone that has been put in jail for weed crimes within the last decade should be let out and paid reparations for the time that they spent in there. But at the same time, I consider myself conservative in some senses as well, and I completely understand the hatred for the, you know, like the hysterical vitriol that can sometimes come from the left. And so it's like, you know, especially here in America, I've been called like an alt-right stooge about fucking 28 times just for, you know, suggesting that some people should be allowed to keep their guns. You know, like, if you're not a fucking nut job, if you're just regular Joe, go and have fun at the gun range. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, it genuinely doesn't bother me. And people go, oh, you're Australian though. Like, you guys are all anti-gun and stuff. And it's like, no, we're anti-dumb cunt plus gun. We're not anti-gun. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that it boils down to. And it comes down to, you know, like, you know, often the discussion will go to guns because I'm Australian, and people go, oh, but you guys aren't allowed guns there. And it's like, mate, we are. Like, I guarantee you, I promise you we are. It's just you have to pass a psychological test, and there's a waiting period. So if, you know, you're pissed off and you want the gun so you can go and fucking kill your ex-wife or something, it gives you a lot of time to calm the fuck down. You know, 6 months or so is a lot of time to calm the fuck down. And, you know, like, if you do have a gun license, like, that's the thing as well. Like, people in America that I don't understand, and we've gone off the tangent, but I'll come back to it. You know, they're keen to know what your political affiliation is, and they're perfectly fine with sitting in the DMV for like 4 fucking hours sometimes. Like, the lack of efficiency in those places blows my fucking mind. Let me just tell you. You know, most affluent and rich country in the world, and we've got to fucking go and sit in it. Anyway, never mind. Fucking DMV, don't get me started. But anyway, where even was I? Yeah, you don't mind going and sitting at the DMV for like a fucking eternity to get a driver's license, but the mere thought of doing like something similar with guns, it's like, no fucking way. You know, like, you can do more fucking harm in a much quicker capacity with a gun than you can a car, but we don't let fucking kids drive cars. You know, like, I just don't get the, like, it's not that Australia doesn't have guns, it's that we treat them like weapons, not toys. You know what I mean? And we all societies across the world, every single one I've been a part of, but bro, don't tell me what didn't work in Australia for gun control, because I was there and it did. The buyback absolutely worked in Australia. Saying the buyback didn't work in Australia, as a matter of fact, crime went up after the mandatory buyback. Absolutely, crime went up. But you know what? Shootings went down, and it takes a lot more fucking knives to kill the same amount of people you would have killed with a semi-automatic rifle. Let me tell you, like, I guarantee you the buyback fucking worked. Like, you just, like, you're a good dude, and you've commented on a bunch of my streams as well, but you have no idea how silly you sound when you say shit like that. And it's like, I feel like grabbing a lot of Americans when we talk about stuff like this and shaking them and going, you guys are the only cunts that don't get it. And you look silly talking about it, you know? Like, we have speed limits because we have to pander to the lowest fucking common denominator in our societies. That's how it works. Like, I take drugs like a fucking champion. Like a champion, bro. Like, the trips I've been on, sitting stationary on my fucking couch, I take drugs like a champion. But little Johnny went and shot himself up and killed himself because he went too fucking hard. And so we pander to the lowest common denominator, right? I drive like a fucking legend. I drive like a fucking sick cunt. I can drive a car at like 200 kilometers an hour and not die. The bits of fucking plastic can be rattling all around me, windscreen fucking vibrating and looking blurry because I'm going so fast, and I can do that. But because little Jessica got drunk and killed her fucking 3 kids in the car with her while she was driving, the rest of us have to have fucking speed limits and alcohol limits, you know? We pander to the lowest fucking common denominator. Guns, like Martin Bryant in Australia, right? He's the one up until Vegas, right? Up until Las Vegas last year or whenever, the year before or whenever it was, when it was like the new record, you know, for the most people killed and injured in the one spot. Before that, the record was held by a bloke named Martin Bryant, right? Who killed a fuckload of people in a place called Port Arthur in Australia in 1996 sometime. And yeah, he killed like fucking a shitload and he injured a shitload more. But like the man, and at the risk of sounding offensive and like pissing a lot of people off here, right? Like had a lot of fucking issues, bro. Like he was literally the cliche person. Like if you picture like the film fucking Rain Man, right? Like, or like if you're trying to deliberately be as offensive as you can be, right? And imagine somebody with mental issues, someone who's special, right? Like the cunt was autistic as fuck, yeah? And like Asperger's level autism, yeah? And he would not be able to have access to a gun in Australia anymore. And we realized that. He went and killed all of those people, and the Australians went, right, all right, if you're a farmer or you're a hunter or whatever like that, you need your gun. All right, cool. But if you're not any of those things, and maybe you might have the potential to be a bit of a nutcase, maybe we will remove the fucking sharp objects. You know what I mean? Like, and we'll pander to the lowest common denominator. And like it's, sorry for going on a rant there, but like, don't tell me the fucking buyback didn't work. Yes, it did. Yes, it fucking did. Like it's as simple as that, you know. Like yeah, I don't know. Like that just happens all the time as well, and it gets me frustrated, especially because it's like it's from otherwise intelligent, logical people that will have a chat with you and talk to you about things and going, oh well, yeah, I get, no. Now that you mention it, 1 + 1 does equal 2. But if you can look at the Australian example and still somehow go, oh, well, that didn't work. There have been no fucking massacres in over 2 decades there. None. You guys have them in schools. Like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like I love this country, but like you got a fucking hard on for guns that makes no sense. We'll move on. Do you believe in God? Yes and no. Like I feel like there are some questions that are harder to answer than others. I believe in a capital S something. I believe that there's a thing, whether it's scientific or not scientific. There's a thing within us all that it makes us want to help other people. You know, like you see a car crash off a bridge, you want to help the cunt get out of the car before he drowns. You know, you see some dickhead beating up his missus on the street, you want to go help her and stop him from beating her up and stuff. You know, like there's a thing that connects us all, absolutely, without a doubt. But I think as a historian, you know, which is what I was before I came to America, it's also true that God has been the gap filler for whatever scientific discovery is yet to happen across the history of time. You know what I mean? Like we've been moving the goalposts on what is and isn't God for a considerable amount of time. And so I'm not sitting here going, oh, there's some place we go off to after we die and all that sort of stuff. But it's like, where are we going? Pretty much all the mass. Sorry, I just read a comment saying pretty much all the mass shootings we've been having wouldn't have prevented even with the laws they've been proposed. Hey, like that's such a stretch, because you've said so many levels of ifs and then you're guaranteeing a different result, man. Like I am, and believe me when I say this, right? I'm not the dodgy dude I once was. I'm a pleasure and I'm a brilliant person that you definitely want in America and everything, right? Like anyone judging me for my green card application currently watching this, don't stress. I never got caught and therefore I've never been charged and therefore I don't have a record. So fucking we're all good, right? But like I knew some dodgy people. Like I knew some of the dodgiest people, you know. If you've ever heard of Johnny fucking Ibrahim, I knew people that used to guard him and all that sort of stuff, you know. Like I knew big names and all that sort of stuff. And Like, if you want a gun in Australia, you need like a fuck ton of money, and you need the connects. And like, it's literally like, we're not talking, oh, there won't be, it'll solve it overnight, gun control, and within 6 days there's no more guns on the street and there's no more massacres and everything like that. Like, if you enact it now, if you bring in gun control now, 2 decades from now, like, I was 5 when the Port Arthur massacre happened, and 6 when all the guns and the legislation in regards to guns, all that brouhaha happened, right? I had never seen a gun until I came to America. And I have been, let me tell you, in some fucking dodgy crowds, right, that would normally have them. And it's like, it's just intellectually obtuse to say, oh, well, if we did exactly what you did, wouldn't work. Like, you're not giving yourself enough credit, America, you know? Like, you're saying, oh, well, the criminals would just keep the guns. Not if you gave them you wouldn't. They just wouldn't, right? But look at, okay, what have we got here? Sorry. But look at some of the shootings, for example. The strictest places want magazine restrictions, pistols only and no rifles. And then there's a mass shooting with a gun that passed all laws. Yeah, again, like, we're not talking that it's going to happen overnight. And there's no point if in fucking Missouri you've changed the law and so that it's super strict, if in fucking Kansas the law is different and some autist can go in his car and pick it up and drive and be back in that state within 3 hours. Like, you just sound silly, bro. You sound silly when you say things like that. Like, it works. It's worked in literally every English-speaking country in the world other than this one. It works. It's like arguing. It's like you're saying the sky's green. Oh, but the sky's green here. You just don't understand. The sky's green here. Like, no, I do understand. Like, it's so fuck the amount of legal guns being in circulation isn't an issue, because the people that are going to be shooting up, it's just, there are people that can legally have guns and will legally have those guns, where no one's saying take all the guns away. They're saying, if you have a history of crime, you don't get a fucking gun. If you are a bit mental, you don't get a fucking gun. If you have, been diagnosed with XYZ, you don't have a gun. And if you're caught with one, then you get fucking fined or jailed and you learn your lesson. And within a generation's time, everyone's perspective has shifted, right? Like, again, as I said, I was 5 when the mass shooting happened, yeah? And to me, like, I literally, other than my mates who are professional hunters and go out and like kill fucking foxes and fucking pests and shit on, like on game reserves and all that sort of stuff and on farms, I literally don't see the need for a gun. What do you need one for? You know what I mean? Like, it's a fun toy. Don't get me wrong. I can completely understand it. But so are cars, right? If you don't need it for something super functional, right? If you don't need it for a function, like driving to work and back, right? Then you need a fucking license for it. Like, I lost my license at one point when I was younger because I had been drinking a lot. And I said to the judge, I'm not gonna have my job anymore if I don't have a license, right? And so he gave me a particular type of thing that, like, I could only drive on these roads and do certain things and everything. And it was acknowledged that I needed that car for my job, but I was a danger to society behind the wheel in any other circumstance. And you could do the same thing with guns. Like, it's a knee-jerk, oh, we don't want to change shit reaction to be like, oh, well, no, that wouldn't work because this state tried it and that state didn't. Like, you don't have fucking borders between your states, bro. That makes no sense. And it doesn't, like, it doesn't work because it's not collective action, and it needs to be, you know what I mean? Like, and regardless, like, somebody buying a pistol in their own city and shooting a bunch of people, that's not going to happen if they have psychological evaluations at the point of buying, and if they have 6-month waiting lists, and if they, like, it doesn't happen, bro. It just doesn't, like, you're giving people too much credit. You're giving criminals too much credit, and you're not giving calm, rational people enough credit, like to just go, oh, well, if we take the guns away, then that'll mean the crazies somehow still manage to hold on to the guns. And it's just silly. And I'm going to move on, right? But it's like, I'll read all the comments at the end and we'll get back into the gun control thing. But yeah, legitimately, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. If you want a gun, by all means, have a gun and have your gun and play with it and do your thing and shoot stuff. Go and shoot some fucking animals. Like, I don't care, like, I'm not one of those people that are like, guns, like, it's just, but it is the facts and they're facts, right? Like it's not some agenda, it's not some lobbying group, you know, like the NRA, just throwing that out there. It's actual facts that you, if there is a gun in your home, are more at threat of that gun than anyone that you're scared of. You know what I mean? Like those are the facts. And yeah, it's weird. I love America, but there's a gun problem, and it makes no sense. Like it's not a gun problem in the sense that the guns themselves are the problem. It's the otherwise rational people that lose the ability to be rational and bring up weird conversations that like, oh, but we can't have a buy gun back scheme because some people still shot someone with pistols. Like that makes like you're normally a person to you know, normally a rational person that helps me learn stuff, you know, and at the minute that doesn't sound rational to me. You don't sound like you're making much sense. You know what I mean? And yeah, exactly, right? So, and I'm talking from the perspective of someone who's had multiple legally owned guns pointed in my face by people over a case of mistaken identity because of their opioid abuse. So, those opioid abusers, right? Like, if you are an opioid user and it's known to police or known to your area that is the case, like even if it's not known, if you're an opioid user, you don't have the cash to get your hands on a gun in Australia. You just don't, because you're spending it all on fucking like, anyway. Like you're answering your own questions, but yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Do you believe in God? I believe in a capital S something. Not so sure I believe in any of the specific theological entities that have been written about in mainstream religion as we speak currently. Generally speaking, when someone says, "Do you believe in God?" I ask which one, you know, because there's something like 2,890 something deities across the history of time that have been invented by the human psyche. And I just believe in one less of them than you do. I mean, one more of them than you do. You believe in one less than I do. If you believe in the conventional Catholic Christian God, you know, like I don't believe in him for the same reasons you don't believe in Ra, because you can't force belief yourself something, you know. But I do believe there's something. I believe there's a capital S something. So we'll move on to that one as well. Which of your playlists is your favorite? I dig this one. I dig the live stream one. I feel like we bounce off each other really well, and I get some really good content, and I learn a lot like on the fly, if that makes sense. I think, okay, so before we, like, I just saw another comment saying, just to be clear, no sane individual that isn't on the fringe thinks that a mentally disturbed individual should have a firearm. Absolutely, right? But it is a fact, right? And it might not be in the case with you. I don't want to put words in your mouth or tell you what what argument it is you're making towards me or anything. But from vast amounts of conversations that I've had in America, no sane person is okay with a mentally disturbed person having a gun. But also, it is a very, very like potent and strong feeling amongst Americans that it's like an affront and an insult that they would have to prove that they're not one of those mentally disturbed people, you know. And it's like, oh well, you know, obviously mentally disturbed people shouldn't have guns, but you know, why do I have to have any passing test or any even remote inconvenience to prove that I'm not? Like, and you know, it's like Jim Jeffries, sorry, has a really good bit on it, you know. And you sound exactly like the people from history, right? And again, not having a crack at you individually, bro, just like Americans in general, when I talk about guns, sound like the same people when you're learning about history that are like, why can't I have my slave? Just because that guy mistreated his slave, just because that person's doing the wrong thing with their slaves and doesn't know how to treat slaves properly, how come I have to give up my slave when I'm a responsible slave owner that does responsible slave? And it's because like I feel like for a lot of people, you can't see the forest for the trees. You know what I mean? Like we pandered to the lowest common denominator. And a part of that process is people who are not the lowest common denominator having to deal with the fact that those people exist. You know what I mean? And it's like, I get it, right? I get it. Guns are fun. It's cool that you can have one. And it's cool that like you can just go off and play with your toys and you look hard in photos and all that sort of shit, right? And like no, I don't actually. Like I was about to say I get the security aspect of it, but I don't, because like you're not people aren't buying subscriptions to fucking Lock Weekly, like there's no big padlock fucking conventions where people are going and checking out the cool bars you can put on your windows and shit like that. Like, it's guns. They're loud. They make bang noises and you kill shit. Killing shit's fun. It is. You go out and you hunt and you fucking kill this big beast that could otherwise kill you. It's dope. It's fun. But it's probs not for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, the fucking doctors do, bro. What your issue with tests, like who determines what passes as mentally sane? The fucking same people that have been for all of society's, like, you just like read what you're writing, bro. Do you listen to yourself talk in this argument? Not like, and I know I don't mean in an argument as in an argumentative sense. I just mean like if we were talking about cars right now, that argument would be, oh well, my issue is who determines whether you're a good driver or not. There are fucking set parameters that smart people decide upon. Like, that's like, it's a no-brainer, bro. Like, these are easy questions to answer, and it's just, yeah. Anyway, I'm moving past the gun control because I've been talking about it for fucking ever. We can agree to disagree. We can and there are so many different things and reasons to love this country. But like, the fact that my fucking children have to do active shooter drills at schools is batshit crazy. It's fucking crazy. No one's saying you individually can't have a gun. Spend a fucking lengthy month-long process proving to me that you're not batshit crazy first, though. Please. Thank you. And I'm sure you're not. You're able to reasonably sit and have a discussion about it. You're not going to go off and, like, I mean, who fucking knows? You might want to shoot your ex-wife or something. And believe me, I fucking completely understand that some people who, bring about those fucking urges in us, but that's why we need meticulous gun control. You know what I mean? Sorry, again, last comment, and then I am gonna check out and keep moving. I only worry about the extreme examples, though. I don't want the extreme to become the norm, if that makes sense. Same as I don't necessarily want to see everyone totaling an AR in Walmart. So, like, but that's the thing, bro. Like, we have to pander to the lowest common denominator. Just, me and you could sit and fucking, I mean, I don't know what your lifestyle is, I don't know, but me and you could sit and have a few beers and shoot the shit and have a really good discussion and chat, and everything would be fine and everything like that. But some people can't have a few beers and without, then going like some alcoholics exist, and so we need to have reform and we need to have laws around it. Like, you're not being able to not being 18, it's 21 here, you where you have to buy it and stuff. Like, there are fucking rules, like we live in a society. But it's what I mean about the test is when red flag laws are implemented that check Facebook posts and people get warrants issued over memes. Yeah, okay. Well, again, I think that brings a whole nother discussion as well into the fact, like, people that think the internet is separate to real life is are really interesting to me. Like, it's like, oh, it was just a meme, bro. Like, yeah, and you posted it, and when you post things on the internet, that is you communicating. Like, the internet is not some different space that you occupy. It's a vessel for communication. And if the communication that you're putting out on that vessel seems threatening or is, from a psychologist's perspective, alarming, it doesn't change if you were just trolling or not. Like, I get it. Trolling's a thing, right? And the internet makes trolling easier. But like, if you're worried about you shared a meme on Facebook and so people will think you're loopy and you won't be able to pass a gun control test, like, I don't think that you're understanding how sophisticated government systems are and government systems can be. Like, you're not just going to the DMV and going, yeah, all right, you give me a license, and then they print it off from the license machine. Like, there's a process involved. It's not I don't think we're talking in logical facts here. I think we're talking about extreme straw men that are convenient to not have to then go into the nuts and bolts about discussing, because you can't go into the nuts and bolts discussing because they're such a vague sort of non-issue of an example. And so then those vague non-issue examples get used as a reason why gun control can't happen. Like, it makes sense. And as far as I'm concerned, if one good, well-intentioned, meaning person can't have a gun for a bit, 6 months longer than they maybe, maybe the system hasn't worked for them and they haven't been able to get a gun and they wouldn't have done anything horrible with it. Like, I'd rather that, some sane person that wouldn't have killed people, maybe not getting to have an afternoon of fun at the gun range, than some fucking cunt shooting up Sandy Hook or a fucking movie cinema. Like, are we seriously talking at the point? Like, is that actually your argument? That it's you're saying you would prefer for it to be laissez-faire, carte blanche, anyone can have a gun, because if there were any restrictions put on them whatsoever at all, someone might incorrectly be restricted. Like that, do you see how the argument seems a bit fucking daft to me? You know what I mean? Like when I put it out like that to you, because it's like it's weird that guns are still readily available here. It's odd. That is an odd thing from a global perspective and from someone who's been to various parts of the world, and like it's just weird. And it's, people, I've had to agree to disagree with a vast number of people who say, oh, you just don't get it because you're not American. And it's like, I guess that's the case. I guess I just don't fucking get it. But I haven't yet had someone explain it to me logically and help me to get it yet. You know what I mean? But anyway, See, again, here's the problem that I feel always arises. Both sides want the same thing, but the extreme views are always pushed to the forefront and assumed as 100% across the board. So let's not talk about them, bro. Just me and you, right? Like just literally straight up, just me and you talking right now. I'm saying some psychological tests and wait periods and make the financial incentive something that is actually incentive in terms of your buyback scheme. Well, I'm not saying give everyone $5 for their $20 gun. Give them $500 for their $20 gun, and they'll fucking give it back. I guarantee you. Like the socioeconomic class of people that have a fucking gun on their side for protection, right, are the socioeconomic class of people who cannot refuse an offer that is too good to refuse financially. You know what I mean? Like the same people that have the guns are the people that need the fucking money and will get rid of them. And it's just fact. Like it's not a matter of discussion. It's just fact. And yeah, the discussion we've been having, I've said let's do all of these things, and you have said no, we can't do anything because what if somebody is incorrectly not allowed a gun? Like that's at the end of the day, that's what you and I, not either extreme from either side, and that's been putting stuff into the assumptions. It's you and me in the comment section here. I've said maybe mental people don't have guns, and you say, oh well, yeah, I don't want mental people to have guns, but what if a sane person was assumed to be mental? You know what I mean? Like I don't get it. I just don't understand. That's not my argument. I don't prefer anyone can have a gun, even if shit's hitting the fan. I'm talking about the ridiculous shit like me not being able to have a bigger magazine depending on my states. Yeah, that's dumb, but that's because you're letting states go wall to wall, And I think that's an issue inherent in the system that an executive order might fix, or who fucking knows, however it works. But like, gun control is a national issue in the same sense, right? That Florida didn't take on fucking Germany in World War II, and fucking it was America that did that, and sometimes, even though we are an amalgamation of states collectively acting as a country, sometimes national problems have national solutions, and this is one of those times where it's because the issue is exacerbated because it is a state-based thing, and some states take it upon themselves to make the certain decisions that they make, but it's a national problem that requires a national solution. But I feel like we waste our time talking about it, if I'm honest. Like, I feel like it's the one thing that I thought like I would be able to sit down with somebody and be like, all right, explain it to me, help me get it, right? Like coming into America, there's a question about like positive and negative experiences later on and stuff. Coming into America, I was determined, all right, like there's a lot of stuff I don't get, but gun control wise, like what's going on here? Somebody explain it to me, and it hasn't been explained to me, and it's not a thing that I understand yet. You know what I mean? Like why it's basically, but we like guns in this country. Yeah, I know. Like that's not a reason for everyone to carte blanche have access to them. It's just not. But gun laws, but someone still goes on a shooting spree while following said law. Again, because they're not national gun laws, bro, and they're not being implemented properly on a national scale. Or when they write vague gun laws banning certain guns that are actually less powerful than the guns they leave legal. Again, if you're the type of person that can put a bump stock on your gun yourself, can go to YouTube, find a video on how to add a bump stock and how to fucking do these certain things to turn a semi-automatic rifle into a automatic rifle or just as dangerous as or whatever. Like, if you have the meticulous knowledge of how to do these things, you're probably not like mentally defunct enough that you would be denied a gun. You know, if you know all of these things and you also happen to have a violent history of domestic abuse or something, shit happens, bro. Maybe you shouldn't be a scumbag. And I'm not suggesting that's the case with you. I'm suggesting that's the case with a couple of other people I've had a chat with about it, you know. But it's like, again, you're now saying we can't, you know, you're against gun laws because sometimes certain states write vague gun laws banning certain guns that are actually less powerful. Like it again, you're basing your argument on vague fallacies that you're inventing as opposed to actual reality of the situation, which is on a national scale. Those state by state things couldn't happen, you know. Like Tony Macaroni, are you Amish? No. It's a weird question to ask. Like, but anyway, it sort of plays into the do you believe in God one as well. And I'm going to keep going because I'm 8 questions into a 23 question Q&A and I'm an hour in. But yeah, you are a good dude. And I 100% don't think that you're like some, you know, like I understand that on both sides of the gun debate and gun discussion, people are like, oh, you just want to fucking shoot up schools and, oh, you just want everyone to be drinking from teacups and not shooting shit. And like, I get it. On both sides of the conversation, right? I can completely understand that there are extremes and that there doesn't, you know, no, we don't need to argue. We can discuss, right? And I completely understand that. But you know, you still haven't yet provided me with a valid reason for why, on a national scale, gun control wouldn't or shouldn't or couldn't work. You know what I mean? Like it's more what's the term? Not non sequiturs or something. But anyway, like we're going to move on. You and I will have a discussion about it, like either via Instagram or in another live stream, or at the end of this live stream once I've answered all more questions and stuff, because I am sure you'd be able to help me understand, or I'd be able to help you to see what I'm saying as well. Like, I'm sure we can reach a point of discussion where we're both happy to say, yeah, right, I've sort of twisted your perspective a little bit there, but at the minute I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on the whole gun thing. I'll get to your do you support Bernie Sanders question in a bit. Like I did just before answer your a question of what's your political affiliation. And in answer to do you support Bernie Sanders, I guess it would depend on what your definition of support is. But yeah, anyway, which of your playlists is your favorite? Probably my Australian history playlist or my live stream playlist because of how the back and forth and stuff can get. The Australian history one because I like telling stories about, you know, my homeland and where I came from and where I grew up, and you know, I feel like I spin a good yarn and you guys probably enjoy it when I do. So the history playlist and the lives, but I'm also like the reaction playlists are mad and I do them every day. I do 2 or 3 reactions every day. But I've been getting into the XFL and it's got me reinvigorated for football. Like I'm a bit like, you know, I was a bit bummed that there's not midweek football, you know. But today I was anyway. But thought that was a drink for a second then and I was spilling you. Sorry about that. Had a little mini heart attack. But probably of my playlist, probably the live stream playlist. Where are we? What advice do you have for upcoming YouTubers? Just get on with it. Oh, fucking running nose again. But yeah, just get on with it. Do what you want to do. Do what you said you were going to do. Tony Macaroni, like that's just a silly thing. I think gun control is idiotic. It never works. Bruh, fucking you're talking to an Australian. Yes, it does. Don't talk shit. Like if America had gun control from the get-go, Western civilization wouldn't exist at this point. Again, you're just talking nonsense with stuff like that, you know? Like it's it's interesting, you know, like I just don't understand that perspective, and it seems so devoid of logic that it's almost laughable. And I don't want to take the piss out of you because I enjoy people and I like people and I kind of need people to be watching my stuff, and I don't want to be an asshole in any capacity, you know. But saying it never works to an Australian who is literally like, I guarantee you, if I had the access to guns that I do here in America, back home in Australia, I'd have killed myself with one in my early 20s. Straight up facts. That is not a hyperbole. That is not me providing some fucking, you know, trying to pull on the heartstrings of anything. I am bipolar. I tried to kill myself in various different ways a few times. And because of the fact that once I got my diagnosis, I was never anywhere even allowed close to a gun fucking facility, right? It's because of that fact that I am still alive. That is true, no matter what opinion you have of gun laws. That is a fact right now for me and my life. And to say you think gun control is idiotic, that's fair enough. You can think what you want, but you're wrong. It does work. It's worked in Britain. It's worked in England. It's worked in every fucking civilized nation on earth except this one. And you sound like a damn fool when you say it wouldn't. Like, you just do. You just sound like a silly person when you're saying that it never works. Like, it never works? Really, bro? It works everywhere except here. Everywhere that's tried it. Literally. Like, anyway. What you... Yeah, I'm going to continue. Sorry. What you say about the history of domestic abuse? It's like felons can't own guns. That's totally fine, and violent individuals like that shouldn't own guns. Exactly. I would appreciate you hitting me up via Facebook Messenger so I can explain it better. You definitely did misunderstand a couple of my points, lol. In a nutshell, I feel like we can solve the problem. We can, right? It's don't blame the guns, forgive your parents. Fuck off, Tony. You're a cockhead, man. Like, legitimately, you say things like they're fact when they're not. And it's one of the, you know, I think Question 21 was the biggest positive and negative experiences in the US. One of the most negative experiences in the US, and I'll move past it in a second, get back to the positiveness of the stream. But this fucking Americo-centric, like, oh, we're the middle of the world, we're the only ones, like, we're this big fucking monolithic thing. Like, there are so many different aspects of society in so many different countries on this planet where shit works, and it's, oh, well, it's not the guns, it's your parents. Like, fuck off, dickhead. Just fuck off. Like, honestly, like, straight up, if you don't want to have a fucking civil, actual discussion about the issue and talk like a big grown up and actually communicate about the issues instead of trying to fucking hit at nerve points, then I'm not here to fucking chat with you. You know what I mean? If you want to have a serious discussion about it, then we can have a fucking serious discussion about it. But I guarantee you, it's not my fucking parents' problem that I fucking, that makes no sense. And you look like a fucking dickhead. You didn't look like a dickhead, Kinetic Gaming. You looked like you were making sense, and you know, like you were making points that, while maybe not logical to me, may be logical on a sense of you've lived here and there, it's different and all that sort of stuff. Like, I can see us coming to a logical conclusion, but with stupid, dumb fuckery like gun control's idiotic and never works. Don't blame the guns, forgive your parents. Like, just fuck off somewhere where your opinion is wanted, you know? Like, it's you're not contributing, you're not helping, you're not contributing to the discussion, and you're not helping in any capacity, you know? Like, it's like fucking little tiny children die in a fucking public elementary school. Little tiny children get shot, and don't blame the guns, forgive your parents. Fuck off, dickhead. Fuck me. Anyway... Like, fancy having that attitude. Like, does it hurt being that fucking ignorant? Genuinely speaking, does it hurt? When you think, does it hurt? You know what I mean? Like, I read a thing the other day about this fucking aphantasia or whatever it's called, which is like, you can't picture shit. Like, if somebody said to picture a red star, you know what a red star looks like, but there's no actual, like, mind's eye there or something, and there's no internal monologue. Like, it's like there's a whole subsect of humanity that are just rolling along, living like fucking gormless, like dolphin, silverback gorilla style fucking instinct decision to decision type people. Like, fucking, when I read shit like don't blame the guns, forgive your parents, I think, fuck me, there are dolphins that are more advanced than you. Straight up, there are dolphins that have better cognitive ability and better process, like thought processing skills, you know? Like, It just makes no sense. Gun control never works. Oh, except for all the places that it fucking does, cunt. You know? Anyway, that rattled me and that was annoying. But I'll come back. What advice do you have for upcoming YouTubers? Yeah, just do it. People are going to not like you no matter what you do. No matter what you do and whatnot. Homicide, here we go again. Homicides have decreased every year in the Western countries since the 90s. It has nothing to do with gun control. Again, fuck off, bro. Like, I'm not going to be having discussions with you. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. You're coming at it from this bullshit angle and you are literally ignorant. And I don't have the time to fucking teach you, you know? And I literally, all the inclination or the energy, you don't know what you're talking about and you started off on a don't blame the guns, forgive your parents angle. Fuck off. Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself to the moon and back. I'm not engaging in civil discussion with you, Tony Macaroni. You're a cockhead. You can fuck off now. See you later. Genuinely, I'm more than happy to talk about gun control with people who want to talk about gun control. But if you're going to start the conversation with, oh, well, your opinion's idiotic and don't blame the guns, blame your parents, fuck off. I'm not engaging in your discussion. I'm not going to be civilized. You started the incivility, bro. You started not being civil. I've just started using some F-bombs. Go fuck yourself, cunt. Literally, go find some sharp object, sit on it numerous times, find some enjoyment if you can find your fucking G-spot. You're a cockhead. Fuck off. I straight up mean it, bro. You come at me with me, please be civilized. I was being civilized, perfectly civilized, having a discussion with Kinetic Gaming. You are a cockhead. Straight up, just a dickhead. Fucking coming in here literally, is this the first stream of mine you've ever seen, bro? You want to talk about my fucking parents? You want to have that discussion, man? You legit want to do that? Because we can fucking stream, we can go off on this tangent. We've been here for an hour and 11 minutes so far. I'm more than happy to fucking talk about that if you want to, bro. No, I'm not going to block him. Fuck him. He can hang around. He can hang around and watch. But literally, that's if you want people to be civilized and you want people to fucking engage with you in a discussion, you don't enter the fucking conversation talking about their parents and telling them that their argument is idiotic. You need to learn some fucking communication skills, bro. I don't want your fucking thumbs up. You can hit dislike. I don't give a fuck. They literally do the same thing. Honestly, that's another fucking, while we're talking dumb cunts, people who think hitting the dislike button in some capacity fucking does something that damages me. Literally, under 1,000 interactions, any interaction is feeding me into algorithms in terms of engagement. You hitting that dislike button literally sends the same piece of fucking code and sends the same message off as the like button, right? You fucking dumb cunt. Do your worst. Dislike my video. Send it to all your fucking little gun-loving mates, you know? It doesn't bother me. Send me off into a fucking... Dislike this video as many times as you like. It has no bearing on my fucking life. Absolutely none. Knife crime is through the roof because of gun control in Australia. Wow. Yeah, okay. You can't... exactly as Lance just said underneath you, knives don't kill 58 and injure 34 more in the space of fucking 10 seconds. I can't knife you from 300 meters away. I can't knife you without you knowing that I'm there. Fucking listen to yourself talk, you dumb cunt. Fuck me. Legitimately, it's otherwise logical and sane people that come up with these bullshit arguments. Oh, well, knife crime's gone up. Maybe you just need to address the issue. Obviously, there are fucking issues with mental health. Obviously, there are fucking people that it's so you can't anyone else. You can't even have conversations with these people, right? If you're legitimately coming to the table with, oh, well, we should keep all the guns and all the gun crime that comes associated with it because, well, there's knife crime. People are going to break laws, so why have any laws? If people are going to break them, why have them, right? Fuck me. You just sound like a dumb cunt, bro. You just dead set. You sound like an idiot. You dead set sound foolish. And every rational, sane person from around the world sees this aspect of America. I spend more time defending my decision to move to America to Australians because of dumb cunts like that with that stupid fucking logic and the stupid, illogical fallacies in their brain that they go, oh, well, knife crime goes up, da, 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 da. Fuck me dead. Are you serious, bro? Listen to yourself talk. Listen to yourself talk. You're talking shit. You make no sense. A fucking, like, what argument is that? Like, it just, oh, well, knife crime goes up. Like, oh, man. You're just not operating on the same level as the rest of us. Like, you are literally, you are on dolphin level functioning. That's what it comes down to. Like, at that point. And like, not because you like guns. I want to make that very, very clear. I'm not saying people that like guns don't know how to think properly. People that make those ridiculous level of, like, just say you fucking like guns. Say, I like guns and I'm not a crazy cunt, and I would be annoyed if it took me a lot longer to get the guns that I like shooting. At least then I would have the respect for you, and I would go, you know what? Fair enough. Go nuts, bro. Like, that's you. That's all on you, and that's fine, you know? But it's fucking wow. The issue is broken families and resentment, not guns, the last line of defense from tyranny. You're trolling now. You're just trolling now. Hey, and I'm done with you, and I'm legitimately not even doing this, you know what I mean? But and again, this is a YouTube channel, not a fucking restaurant, dickhead. Thumbs ups and thumbs downs have nothing to do with what the actual viewer is looking at. Like, that is such a surface level, showing how ignorant you are thing to say. The buttons that you click for up or down send messages to YouTube about what videos to put into what feeds so that they can drive more engagement and keep more eyes on screen for ads. That's how they make their money, with the ad revenue, right? They couldn't give a fuck if you like my video or not. They want to know if it's worthy of people watching it. If I get a million, like if I get fucking 10, 20, a million dislikes, right? If I get a million dislikes from fucking people like you, it's just going to throw me into people like you's news feed, and people might like you's trending feed, so that they can get furious and rant about it and fucking hit me up in the comments section and see all of the ads at the same time. It's not a fucking, this isn't Yelp, bro. This isn't a, oh, well, those dislikes, I'm not going to watch this. I'm not going to watch this YouTuber because his videos have dislikes. That's not what that tool is. And you're just proving how big a dickhead you look like. And you've made me cranky, but I'm going to move on now. Legitimately, you're a fucking flea, and you should reevaluate your life choices. Like, anyway, I'm going to read some other comments, and then I'll move on with the questions. Advice, disengage with this dude. Agree, let's get on with the other questions. Will do. Where are we? Advice for upcoming YouTubers, don't get caught in tangents. Where do you want to go with the channel? Look, to be honest with you, anywhere. It's again, drugs shouldn't be like fucking. I'm just gonna stop engaging with you. Like, you can ask as many questions as you like, bro, but at the point that you are devoid of any reasoning when people talk to you, and you ask for civility in return after you've started the conversation talking about people's idiocy and their parents, you need to learn how to have an actual civil discussion if you want one, bro. And you, Tony Macaroni, are the reason why America has a bad reputation. If and wherever they do internationally, it's because of dumb cunts like you making everyone think that all of America is full of that. Anyway, where do you want to go with the channel? To be honest with you, nights like this are where I want to go with the channel. I enjoy getting heated and having a good discussion and getting frothy, you know what I mean, and all that sort of stuff. And it's I'd like ideally to get to a point where I earn enough from it that I could say it's my job. You know what I mean? Like, I do tell people, when they say, oh, what do you do? I say, I'm a YouTuber and a stay-at-home parent. And they go, oh yeah, how many subs do you have? Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it's cool. I think I don't know what that magic number is for legitimacy, if that makes sense. It's the Natty Light flavor is strawberry lemonade and drinking beer. For those who like strawberry lemonade and drinking beer. But it was 75 cents. I'd never heard of it before, and I was like, 75 fucking cents, like, for a can this big, right? Like, I'll give it a whirl. But I was saying at the start of the video, like, yeah, not a fan personally. Like it's beer, I'll drink it, but it's like tastes a bit like someone poured like mango juice sort of strawberry and lime, you know, but it's like, like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of flavored beers. Like, just give me a beer, you know, like I want to be, if I can taste the yeast as a nice little hoppy aftertaste, you know, like just beer, give me beer, you know, you don't need to add flavors to beer. Beer is a flavor, but and yeah, 75-cent beer though, you can put whatever fucking flavoring in you like. 100%, you know. But yeah, where do you want to go with the channel? It's probably as high as I can, you know. I would like a lot of subscribers. I would like to get a regular income from it, you know. I think that would be really cool. I think when I first started, I had these like delusions of grandeur that like the history videos would kick off, because there aren't, like, realistically, there are Australian YouTubers, and boom, nice, you're a legend. You're a sick cunt, Lance. You're a legend. Yeah, I just got a super chat for anyone that didn't see that. You're a sick cunt, Lance. But thank you very much. I will get a different beer. But yeah, no. What was I saying? That like super increased my mood. That's mad. Thanks, man. I do drink Bud, generally speaking, but when the Budweiser is $2.85 for a can, and then Natty Light is 75 cents, economics dictates that I'm going to drink the Natty Light. To be honest, bro. But yeah, the what do I want to do with the channel? Like, I had delusions of grandeur, and I thought that the Australian history videos would be like huge, and they don't. Like, there are Australian YouTubers. Don't get me wrong. You know, Isaac Butterfield has over a million subs now. Friendly Geordies has 300,000 or 400,000. There are a couple of but those are the two biggest players in the Australian YouTube scene, right? And one of them has over 1 million subs. And I thought that was a really big fucking market, right? I was like, man, 1 million subs. Can you imagine that? That'd be sick. Then I moved to America, and like these, you know, I started doing reaction videos as well. And like No Life Shack has something like 2.3 million. What's his name? The fucking white dude. I can't remember his name. He's like a British dude that, like, he's got a pointy face. But anyway, he's got something like a fucking, you know, 1.2 mil. And like, there is legitimate space and a legitimate market for me as an American immigrant, with my Australian history videos in Australia, my reaction videos in each reaction-y area sort of thing. There's a market for me to have, you know, a substantial following on YouTube, and I reckon that'd be cool. I'd love to be able to, you know, I can't do anything at the minute anyway, because legally I'm not allowed to. But it'd be cool that if by the time I got my green card, I could logistically be like, you know what? It's cool, but I'm not going to go off and break my back as a fucking roofer or a landscaper, or like, I don't have to do these physical laborious jobs anymore. I'm just fucking talking to a microphone for my dosh, you know, like, that'd be fucking sick. But also, where do you want to go with the channel? I'm happy with where it's at. Like, I'm just happy that people are joining, you know, and enjoying my content. Where do you want to go? Yeah, sorry. What equipment do you use for your videos? This is a Audio Technica. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good microphone. I like it. I dig it. I've got a Logitech camera that I use on the streams that my mate Sean Eden gave me as well. And the camera I actually use for my reaction videos is it's a Sony AX6300, except it's not A. It's like it looks like an A, but I think I'm pretty certain it's like a fucking Greek letter sort of thing. Like, it's not actually A. It's like it's not Omega, because that's an O. But you know what I mean? Like those symbols. What is it? What's the Sony symbol? I'm gonna Google it. Sony what? How would you even Google that? What is the Sony? What is the A in Sony AX6300? I think it's AX6300. Yeah, see, now it's just saying it's an A, but it is definitely not an A on my thing. It's, you know, like, it's the weird, maybe it's just a design feature. I don't know. Maybe it's just a font. I could have sworn that was like a fucking, like a whatever it is. But yeah, literally fucking, it's a nice camera. It's a Sony, and it shoots in 4K. It's a really good. The lens on it is something special as well that I have that I can zoom in. I can zoom like I can literally. I would be able to read your name tag from one side of Niagara Falls to the other with the strength of my fucking zoom. You know, like it's underwhelming. It's underwhelming for that I use it for what I use it for. It's a really, really good photographer's camera. If you check out my Instagram, go to my Instagram. I haven't actually posted anything from with that camera for a while, but if you go to my Instagram, if you can be fucked, if you can be bothered, and again, I don't imagine you would be, so don't stress. But if you can be bothered, on my Instagram, there are, if you scroll back, there's a couple of posts about my dog seeing snow for the first time, and you can see the quality of like the fucking rain droplets that have frozen and the dew that is frozen on the grass on top of the snow and all that sort of stuff as well. Like it's really good photography camera that I happen to use for videography. 13, blue or red. I'm fairly certain, right? Especially given the video that this was commented on. I feel like blue or red is a political dog whistle, and I'm maybe not getting it. Like maybe blue or red is actually like Republican or Democrat. So on face value, colors only red, because it's a very emotion, like there's an automatic sensory something that happens. Like basically red thumbnails make people click your videos more. Red advertising in takeaway food makes people buy more food because they're hungrier and all that sort of stuff. And so I, you know, in terms of actual just colors, not dog whistling or higher political looking into it sort of stuff, I like red. If we were going to be talking Democrat versus Republican, depends what year and what leader, not leader, because that's different politics, but you know what I mean. Different fucking, it depends on what issue we're talking about. I'm not a dyed-in-the-wool supporter of either way. Number 14. So pretty much we're over halfway, which is good. 14. Why Anxious Squid Productions? That one's an easy one. I was in line for a beer at a Buffalo Sabres game, and the drinks attendant wasn't taking my passport as identification because, you know, again, an international passport that's been recognized by two different sets of customs apparently is you know not good enough for little old mate beer attendant at the Sabres game. And there was quite a line forming because I was like, what other ID do you want me to fucking give you, bro? Like, you're not going to take my Australian driver's license because you've never seen one of those before either, just like you've never seen this fucking passport. But this is internationally recognized identification. Sell me the fucking beer, please. And somebody shouted back from behind, he's got more ink than an anxious squid, just sell him the fucking beer. And like the grouping of people that had gathered as a result of waiting for the beer cracked up laughing because it was, you know, I have a significant amount of ink, you know, like you can't really look at me from any angle and not see that I'm a heavily tattooed individual. And so, you know, at the point that I have this many tattoos, you'd think that fucking IDing me for alcohol is a bit silly. I thought it, but yeah, here we are. That was, and I laughed, and Shannon laughed, and it became like a little mini nickname for me. And then when I created the channel, that's just, I figured that's a unique name that might work with branding. Like, give it a crack, and it seems to have worked so far. Question 15: how many tattoos do you have? 43 individual tattoos, but that's like, this one is a Mario Kart, like that's Mario. There's Bowser, who's just fucking yeeted a blue shell at him, and where's Toad? Toad's up here. He's just Toad's eating shit from being fucking hit with the red shell and stuff like that. Of my 43, that is one, you know, and these letters here that I got around my elbow and stuff is I count as one, you know, and stuff. So I've got 43, but I've got over 200 hours of inking done into me. And yeah, I you know, I recommend it. I reckon they look sick, and people will say, oh, what are you going to look like what are you going to think about that when you're older? If what I'm worried about when I'm older is the physical aesthetic of how my fucking skin looks, and that's my biggest worry is tattoos I got when I was younger, I'll be pretty fucking stoked with the life I led, and my lack of regrets, you know? Like, I reckon there's plenty worse shit I could be regretful about as an old cunt than tattoos. And also, I'd rather regret something I did do than regret not doing something, you know what I mean? I would have hated to get to being an old fella and being like, oh, man, I should have tattooed more stuff, you know? So yeah, here we are with that. But I just saw another one. What's? Oh, I'm going to go back up in the beer conversation as well. Bear with me. Try Bush. Natty Light is crap beer. I believe Bush Light is Bud Light in a different can. Could be wrong. Steel Reserve is the move for economic drinking. Does it drink like shit? Like, does it taste like shit? Or is it just economical? Like, it's a good happy medium. Shout out Red Letter Media. I don't know what Red Letter Media is, but shout out to them. Good on them and whatnot. Hell yeah, we're basically Germany Junior. Wow. Yeah, I guess in the beer sense, absolutely. Sorry, my mind went straight to the Nazis and the moon landing. But anyway, Lamau, True CJ, Steel Reserve is owned by Miller. I think it's made in Milwaukee, but not sure. I mean, fucking Saab Miller owns like basically every beer company in the world now, don't they? In a nutshell. But I didn't realize they started out in Milwaukee. Oh, of course they did. That's fucking cool. That's dope. Blue is Democrat, red is Republican. Yep, cool. Go Brewers, go Cubs. Yeah, boy. Formerly Miller Park South is the Cubs. What's your favorite or most important tat? Going to get one for your son to be? Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to do that, aren't I? I'm gonna have to. But if I'm gonna get a tattoo for my son, I'm gonna have to get one for Sophia as well, because like, you know, that's a thing. That's not fair if I don't and whatnot. And so I'm like, I think it depends on the situation, right? So it depends on the context and the situation. I really dig my hammerhead shark over here because he's like got a fucking hammer. Like, it's not a hammerhead shark in the actual animal hammerhead shark. It's a great white shark body with the head of a hammer on it, and I think that's fucking funny. And yeah, I thought that was cool, and it was probably like the healing process was really easy. I just tattooed my neck on both sides before I tattooed this one, and let me tell you, if you're considering getting your neck tattooed, like, fucking don't. Like, I mean, do, because it looks good and it's worth it and it's amazing, you know. Like, I love how the bird looks like it's eating my beard from a certain angle, like, and it's really meaningful. Like the dates on this, I think the dates and the rows are both meaningful for different reasons and stuff on that side as well. But it's like literally excruciatingly painful, and tattoos are generally speaking painful. Like, anyone that tells you it doesn't hurt, like, for the most part, is either lying or they have an incredibly unnaturally high pain threshold. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting fucking stabbed a bunch of times. That's how it works. You know what I mean? That's what it is. A good tattoo artist will be trying to get in between the third and fourth layers of skin, so that it's past the regenerating ones, but not deep enough to be actually fucking causing like issues into the bottom layer, which, like, anyway, science and stuff, right? But it's yeah, like, they're all painful, but the neck ones, like, it's a new level of pain. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example, pain threshold wise. I've told you guys the story before about the incident where I hit the tree at 70 k's an hour, which, you know, if you haven't heard it, short version, I was on top of a car with two other people. There were 15 people inside the car. We were young and stupid. We were teenagers doing stupid teenagery shit. We were all in a football team together. Like, whose idea to leave the fucking group of us unsupervised as adults, you know, young adults? We're all 18, 19 sort of thing. Like, that was fucking dumb. But I thought it would be smart because I didn't want to be one of the people on the inside, because I thought if we hit anything, there's too many people in there. It's just compact, you know, like, it's going to, people will get crushed, you know. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll be on top, because, you know, if we hit anything then. And so I hit the tree at the same time the fucking car did. And I walked around after that day, right, because I thought I had dislocated my shoulder, because they popped my shoulder back in for me on the day. That was excruciating, let me tell you. But I walked around for like a few days, not realizing that I had broken every rib on this side of my body, and put hairline cracks in 2 of the ribs on this side of my body. Like I just straight up didn't realize that was the case. That's how high my pain threshold is, right? And I'm telling you, the black ink for the cockatoo on this side, like I was 2 of my mates had to physically hold me down, because even though I knew I wanted to be there and everything, it was like a natural, like I was trying to get away because I was in so much fucking pain. I bit through 3, like, do you guys have paddle pops here? I'm sure you do. It's like an icy pole. You know the wooden sticks that like an icy pole or an ice cream is on, sort of thing? Well, those anyway. I had 3 of them on top of each other. Like, no, just picture how thick they are, right? Like that's a good, like about that thickness, but with double it, right? Popsicle, that's it, popsicle. I had 3 popsicle sticks stacked on top of each other, and twice I fucking bit through the things and snapped them in half, right? Snapped them in half. That's how much pain I was in for the neck tattoos. So just beware, like anytime ever I see anyone with a massive neck piece now, straight up anyone, you can be fucking anyone at all whatsoever. If you have a neck tattoo and it's like significant color that they've had to spend a big bit of time getting in to try, because it's real skin, it's real thin skin there as well. So they've got to go in and out and to find that, magical in between the 3rd and 4th level. And it was fucking painful. Like anyone I see with a shitload of ink on their throat or neck, I'm like, mad props, super respect. Like you've gone up in my view, like that's a big thing to do. But I think, for that reason, my cockatoo is my favorite, but also because of the type of cockatoo it is. Like, I don't know if you guys can see the yellow that's in it, but there's a specific type of sulfur-crested cockatoo that is only native, like is native to, and is other than in captivity and with pets and stuff like that. The only instances of that bird being found in the wild are in the Wallandilly, in the area that I grew up in when I was back home in Australia. And so I think that's a really cool way to be like patriotic about where I'm from without, broadly speaking, like having a big fucking outline of Australia on my hand or something, you know what I mean? Which I ended up doing anyway. But yeah, I'd say the cockatoo probably, or the hammerhead shark, or actually these letters, right? The letters on here were my favorite for a while as well. I'll see if I can get the right angle. There's where is it? Says cunt somewhere. I can't see where the letters are, but I think it's, where are we? I've lost them. But anyway, somewhere on the elbow it says cunt in like floppy fucking things and stuff like that as well. And yeah, like it's anyone that says, I'll move on from the tattoos in a second, but anyone that says tattoos aren't painful hasn't got enough, because there is somewhere on your body that will be excruciating. It does depend for each person. I would probably go, in terms of most painful, neck, then fingers, then calf, actually. And like the calf, for some reason, like I think it's just because it's so tight and the muscle's right there, you know what I mean? Like I think that's why for that one. And the neck, I think, like obviously it's your fucking neck, you know what I mean? Like there's a whole bunch of nerves and blood vessels. Like there's 2 different types of pain, okay? So there's the pain that you feel because your brain has made sense of whatever it is, and that's, you need to feel pain, otherwise, so you don't get that, like being stabbed hurts a fuck ton, because being stabbed also exposes your internal organs to sharp bits of metal, right? And that's generally not conducive to a life well lived. And so pain is like the evolution's way of being like, yo, best avoid being stabbed, cunt. And broadly speaking, in terms of pain, there are 2 different types. One, which is the brain going, yep, that hurts, that's a thing, right? Like we walked into that door, we hit our head on it, and that's painful. And the other one is the automatic sensory sort of pain, right? Which is the sort of pain where you're like, you already know to move your hand away from a hot surface when you've touched it before you can even actually feel the first type of brain, right? First type of pain, if that makes sense. And so the first, like, you can actively switch that first type of pain off, right? And they teach you how to do it. I'm fairly certain when you go into the military, and like they taught us when I went into, like, I was volunteering in certain aspects in some fucking messed up parts of the world, and taught us like various different things and all that sort of stuff. And it's basically like you can straight up switch that part of your brain off if you need to in a crisis, and it will do it for you, right? So if you're like fucking running along somewhere, like for example, running, right? Like I could never run a marathon, right? But if there was a saber-toothed fucking tiger behind me, I would run whatever distance I needed to run to get away. You know, if it was like there would the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the element of being tired, or the element of pain in your legs and muscles and stuff, like the adrenaline fixes it and fucks it off, you know, like the adrenaline gets rid of it. And when you're going to get a tattoo, you can tell, like, you can trick your brain, basically. You can just basically be like, yo, this is gonna hurt, but it's gonna hurt for like 4 hours, and I'm gonna keep allowing it to hurt, right? And so by like the half-hour mark of those 4 hours, your brain's gone, all right, I'm gonna stop sending you that message now, because clearly you don't care about it. Like you've got the message, you've got it picked up, and you're all good, right? And so it's yeah, like you can hack your brain, and if you get enough tattoos, like they can stop being painful in certain areas. And that was what it was for my like, because I had just done my neck ones, and I got the hammerhead shark, right? And because it was on my arm and on my bicep and on the most traditional spot possible, with the least dense cluster of nerve endings that you could imagine, I honestly straight up didn't even feel the fucking needle going into the skin. But I did on my arms before I got my neck tattooed, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I'm going to read some comments and come back to the questions again. Where are we? 319 for a 4-pack, or 8% of it. Oh, not bad. 8%. That's like double these ones. $3.19 for a 4-pack too. Still reserved. Maybe I'll give them a crack. The flavor is strong. Wow. I'll give you guys a review next live stream. I might have some, and we'll have a drink. Lamau bird eating my beard. I had my cavities drilled out with no. Oh, fuck me. Yeah. Ouch. Broken ribs so bad. Yeah. No, that wasn't fun. Like it hurt to breathe, and it was actually funny. Like, because I didn't want to tell my parents, right, that I'd been stupid enough to be on top of the car and stuff, and so like. It was the game of football I was going to be playing, and even my own teammates were like, bro, you can't fucking play. And I was like, yeah, but what am I going to tell the coach or my parents? Oh, I can't play because I was fucking on top of fucking Dane's car. Like, when he hit a tree at that place you told us not to go driving at because of the dirt roads and stuff. Like, so I wasn't going to tell him or anything. And, we envisioned this big plan of like how we were going to fucking have a head, me and this other kid, right? Other dude at the time. We were kids, but we weren't kids, you know. We had this plan where it was like we fucking we'll have a head clash during the warm up. We'll deliberately run into each other and hit our heads against each other, and I'll be like, oh no, I can't play, you know, like I'm fucked, like my head hurts too much, take me to the hospital or something, right? Except what we didn't realize, right, was where we were warming up was legitimately like there was a white picket fence and then people, and it was maybe fucking 10 yards between us as the players that were warming up and people, you know. And so it was like, we did our best, but we were both wary. I had fucking broken ribs all over me, you know, like I didn't want to get fucking hit that hard. I was in pain, and he knew that. And so we went a bit easy, and everyone was like, oh, that's a bit weird. All right, you don't have to play or anything. But my old man, my stepdad, pulled me aside and was like, listen here, you little fucking shit. What did you do last week? Like, you have been moping about fucking like crying when you sneeze. What's going on, cunt? What did you do to yourself? And I was like, all right, I'm a level with you. This is what happened. And he was like, bro, we're going and getting some x-rays. What the fuck? And it turns out I had a whole bunch of broken ribs and stuff. But it was like, yeah, it was fucking rough, man. It was brutal. But yeah. I can't remember how we got onto that tangent. That was probably the second most painful instance of my life after the fucking cockatoo, I reckon. But comments. It's likely a psychological reason for it. Tons of nerves and blood vessels. Yeah, exactly. There we go. I saw a CU. Yeah, it's sort of like she didn't want to just write cunt. So my tattooist is a girl, and so it was like sort of like swappy like that, you know. Oh yeah, do a dub for me. Well done, CJ. Oh, anyway, exact train of thought I had. Yeah, exactly. Like the dense cluster of fucking whatevers, you know. Or like playing in football, I broke my back, adrenaline kicked in, and anyway, I woke up in the morning after the game and couldn't sit up. Fuck, that's rough. Breaking your back at football, that's brutal. I know, broken ribs, broke two and tore muscle in between. Ouch. Yeah, not a fun thing. Whenever I hear about anyone having broken ribs, I'm like, man, that shit hurts to breathe. When you have broken ribs, it hurts to breathe, right? Like, you know, every breath you're taking in, like, because, you know, like, as a normal human, sometimes you forget your breathing. And I don't mean like you forget to breathe. I just mean like it's just happening in the background, you know, and you're doing other shit, you know. You're not actively breathing in and out. You're just, it's happening, right? And then other times you get like uncomfortably aware that you need to breathe and it won't automatically just do that. And you're like, why can't I just fucking breathe, right? Like, just breathe, sort of thing. But yeah, no, you are uncomfortably aware of every single breath, and sneezes make you cry when you break your ribs, I reckon. Question 16, finally. Your wife is pregnant. Do you want a boy or a girl? Well, we know now it's a boy. I was going to do this stream before we knew, and I was probably going to say boy, but thankfully I didn't have to because now we know and it's a boy. Where are we? Question 17. If money wasn't an issue, where would you all live? Well, for a while, money wasn't an issue, and I moved here because I wanted to be with my wife. But to be honest with you, I think right now, like if money weren't an issue right now, we would probably move to Colorado, I reckon, because it's a fucking beautiful state, and it's, you know, there are things that are legal there that aren't quite yet here, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's got professional sport, you know, that I could watch, both hockey, football, you know, all of that sort of stuff. Ticks all the boxes. But also, like, we're pretty close to a support network of family, and like Niagara Falls is not too shabby in terms of you know, decoration and natural things around us. You know, like the Aspen River is fucking gorgeous, but Niagara Falls is gorgeous as well. So I think like here, I guess, but also like here with more stuff on any given day. But welcome back, Lance. Welcome back. I was just talking about like, yeah, I was just saying your back injury would have been fucked. That would have been heavy, bro. Unfortunate. But yeah, number 18. What's your favorite memory? Like, I'm getting a whole bunch of new favorite memories actually. You know, like, as weird as it is to say, learning we had a boy today, learning that we're having a boy today is up there with my new favorite memories. Hearing his heartbeat for the first time was pretty cool. Going to Madison Square Garden for the first time was cool. Meeting Shannon was cool. The hotel we stayed at the first time, like, you know, when I first came to Buffalo and stuff, it's a place called the Hotel Henry, which is like, it's fucking ex-asylum sort of thing. Like, it's a really cool hotel, which is nice. And that, you know, spawned a lot of memories because I hadn't really seen snow until then. And then I was checking out an old haunted fucking part of this hotel covered in snow, which was a really cool experience. Memory though, like I feel like when people ask, you know, what's your favorite memory, they're actually asking about, like, you know, because the person that asked it is somebody I went to high school with. So I'm like, do they mean high school wise? Like, I guess from high school, my favorite memory was probably, we won a couple of, like, I played Aussie rules for the high school football team, and I played cricket for the high school cricket team. I think one of my favorite memories from high school, because I was a bit of a fucking emo, right? Like, I was in high school right as the emo shit kicked off, you know what I mean? Like, I graduated in 2008. I went and saw Green Day, Jimmy Eat World, and My Chemical Romance on the American Idiot tour in 2005. And that was before My Chemical Romance had even released the Black Parade yet. Like, they were doing their old music still and stuff, and that was a cool thing. But I think, you know, I used to wear fucking makeup and dye my hair black and all that sort of stuff. And when I rocked up to try out for the school's cricket team and be the school wicket keeper, straight up dudes were laughing at me, being like, what the fuck, bro? Like as if you're gonna play sport. And I am a fucking good wicket keeper. Like I'm not even gonna be like I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I didn't play professional sports by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying I'm that good, but there are, on a net basis, more people that are worse than me than better than me, if that makes sense, in the world. Like I wouldn't ever have played at any professional level, but if you count in all the people that don't play at all with the people that don't play well, I am better than your average wicketkeeper, right? Just slightly. Which means that in any given high school, right? Like I was the fucking hands down best wicketkeeper that school's had. Like it maybe not since, I don't know, I've never paid attention since I left school, but nobody had ever had more than 2 stumpings in a game. I got 4. Nobody had ever had more than 5 dismissals in a game. I got a couple of catches and fucking. It's basically like a catcher in baseball. You're the guy catching the ball and doing stuff, but you're also like in charge of a lot of shit that's going on. Like you're telling the bowler what to do when he needs to do it, how he's done it, where the fielders need to be at certain points, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I still remember to this day. Like there was a kid. Well, not a kid. He'd be in his late 20s now as well. Like, and we played as adults against each other a few times as well. His name was Hugh, but I still remember how he was literally the only one in the entire school. I had I was trying out sort of thing, but he'd seen me play on weekends, and so he knew I was good, and we'd been playing against each other sort of thing, and people were giving me shit. Like before I started trying out, being like, what the fuck, the emo's going to try and play cricket. Do you see any emos playing cricket, blah, blah, blah. And Hugh was the only one to not talk shit. And so he was the only one that I didn't talk shit back at after I'd nailed the position on the team. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that day or that weekend, what was the character's name? Fuck. What's the guy's name in American Pie? Like Oz Striker or something. Like that weekend, I had a theatrical production that I had to attend, and a cricket game for high school. And I felt like that dude in American Pie that's like the in the theater doing his thing with his missus, but also off being a fucking mad sportsman. That was a good year that year. But yeah, where are we again? Did you play any pro sports? That's weird that I was just talking about that. No, is the short answer. When I was a kid, and I mean a kid like preteen, I played for the state in indoor cricket, like as an 11 or 12-year-old, I think. And the highest I got was 2nd grade in cricket, which is like, international, playing for Australia, playing for your state, playing for district. 3 grades of playing for district for eligibility to get picked for the state, and then club cricket, grades 1 to 12, right? And highest I ever played was 2nd grade of club cricket. Like I didn't even go on to represent my area or anything like that. It was sort of just hit and giggle. But like I had. That being said, I was still playing 2nd grade of club cricket. Like there were fucking 9 grades of players with 16 teams in each that were less or had, were playing at a lower quality of the game than I was, So while I didn't play pro sports, I also wasn't shit at them. You know what I mean? Like at the same time. Question 20, when's the next Q&A? At 2,400 subscribers. Help me get there as quick as you can. That'd be sick. 21, what's been the biggest positive and negative experiences in the US? Okay, so positive experiences is obviously like all my child related stuff, the stuff that I've I'd learned that I was going to be a father. Now I've learned that I'm going to be a father of a boy, and like all sorts of stuff like that. And the biggest positive experiences of America and in America have much more to do with the direct company I'm keeping, if that makes sense. Like with my wife and with her family and how cool they are and all that sort of stuff as well. But I think on a broader sense, I think the best experience is I pretty much can't talk anywhere without people being like in your face friendly, because they're aware they're making an impression. Or they believe that they're making an impression of America more broadly. You know what I mean? Like people hear an accent and go, oh, I've got a I've got to put the best show I can on for the country, you know what I mean? Like, or provide the best example. What if he's only here for a day, sort of thing, you know what I mean? Like, everyone loves an accent, and everyone wants to be nice to the guy with the accent. Negative experiences wise is white people are assuming I'm going to be racist, and there are so many people, and like, I don't know if that's just because of like where I am. Like, I wouldn't have assumed like New York State to be overtly or overly racist, you know what I mean? But there are certain areas up here, like Lewiston and North Tonawanda, and like they straight up still have fucking Klan rallies. Like they don't, and they're open about it, and they like fucking, there are flyers up on notice boards about it and shit, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, there are it goes both ways, you know, like there's that, you know, like, and there's a lot of people, like, I just saw your comment, Lance, I'm nice to the guy with the accent because he's a nice guy. Thanks, man. I like it. Like, there's a lot of people in my everyday life that are just like that as well, you know, like the people at the 7-Eleven and all that sort of stuff that know I'm here for the long haul, that are, you know, it's past that surface level. But like there's you know, there seems to be on a thing on a national level, right? Or like on a I just keep hitting the microphone. Like on a level of like people, if they're gonna act differently based on you being foreign, right? Which a lot of people won't, you know. Like I'd say not 85% of the time, you the only difference I'd get is, oh, you know, you're not from these parts, or oh, you're not from around here, or you know, oh, is that an accent? Is what I get from the most polite people is that an accent? And it's like, come on, Dale, you know it is. Like I sound like fucking Mick Dundee. Let's just be straight up. Like, let's say, like, you know, you can say you don't sound like you're from here. That's not offensive. But on the other side, like people, they're like, I literally to this day, right now, could be an illegal immigrant, and none of you would know. You know, like not a single one of you would know. And in the line, waiting for shops and stuff, I have been told that people, you know, like good on me for doing it the right way. And people have assumed that I've gone about going things the right way. And it's 100% because I'm white. And it's without a doubt, like if I was a brown person, there wouldn't be the automatic assumption of having done things correctly. And there would be, you know, for some of my friends have experienced, quite the opposite, the automatic assumption of, well, what the fuck are you doing here, cunt? And so seeing those two things happen for other, you know, or happen to me, but also not happen to me, it's a really interesting thing when talking about like negative experiences. I think the most negative experience I've had is probably the super racist old white lady that, you know, like it's a cliche sort of white woman, right? Like she just looks like leather draped over a skeleton, you know, like she's like, it's not like there's no fucking internal organs there, and this cheeks are all like caved in, and she's got like 3 teeth that are all somehow at the wrong angle, and like it's weird, right? And but she was on this fucking expletive laden rant in the 7-Eleven about you know, fucking Indians, right, at the time, and how they had kicked her out of the casino and stuff, right? And at this time, like this, we were at the 7-Eleven at this point, right? So I'm not going to put too fine a point on it, but the bloke who owns the store is an actual Indian from India, right? And so this woman's screaming and going off her nut about fucking Indians in the 7-Eleven, right? And I go, maybe she's being racist to this guy. What a fuckwit, you know? And so, like, I mean, I'm not the type of person, and my wife and I have discussions about this a lot. Like, I'm not the type of person that can just see someone being a right fucking fool and not pull them aside and be like, bruh, like, just clock yourself in that window or that mirror over there and have a look. You look like a right fucking fool. What are you doing? Like, do you need help? Do you need, like, what's going on? You having a bad day? Like, let's diffuse this situation. You know, I'm not the type of person that that you know, like, looks the other way and walks somewhere. You know, I'm like, if there's something happening, like if you're on high beam, you're obviously on it for something, right? You're doing it for some reason. You know, I've been caught at bad moments before. Let's try and get you out of your bad moment, right? And so I'm like, well, Dale, what's happening? What are they like? What's going on? Like, do you know what day it is, basically? And she just you know, acted like I was her best mate and that like we'd been fucking skipping around the fucking flaming cross at the last clan meeting together and stuff, and had just been fucking, just literally starts ripping into this Indian bloke about people that fucking, people that aren't from here, and how the country's being taken over by immigrants, and like she's saying this to me, like about this external problem, right? Apparently, even though I'm the immigrant and he's the cunt that was born here, but because he's Indian and his parents were Indian, he's the one that's copping the foreigner beef while I'm apparently her best mate. And that was probably the least fun experience. And but at the same time, there were about 8 other people in the 7-Eleven, all of whom were like, "Oi, cunt, don't be a fuckwit. Like, why are you like this? Why are you being like this? Maybe have you ever considered like not being like this? And so that was, it's the swings and roundabouts of the yeah. And that's, again, we're called the melting pot, right? Like I tried saying to her calmly, isn't that like what America is built upon and founded upon, is like everyone coming from everywhere and going, nah, this is how we want to do things, and we want to do it here, and America's a brilliant place and a better place for it, right? And she's like, oh yeah, but not from those fucking places. They shit in the street in India. I'm like, yeah, well, in some places they do, but that has much more to do with the social inequalities of the caste system that are more and more being emulated by the class system here in America, based upon fuckwits like you having this sort of opinion, you know what I mean? And like tried to have an intellectual discussion with somebody who was not at all prepared to wield any intellectual weapons, you know what I mean? So I think that was a waste of time. But I think the best experiences, ruling aside family and all that sort of stuff, it's been an extremely welcoming place. I was not expecting, like everyone knows, it's the done thing. It's the cool thing to do is to call out racism, or to call out fuckwits, or to call out the right wing, And if the media was to be believed, America was full of Trump voting, Dixie, like fucking Southern flag waving, yellow wolf listening, gun toting fuckwits. You know what I mean? Like the Washington Redskins jacket, the fucking Statue of Liberty fucking visor thing on their head, and like big fat cheeseburger eating, fucking angry at anyone that isn't them sort of thing. And it's just not the case. Like that accounts for maybe like Confederate flag. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, not Southern flag. That's probably offensive. But yeah, no, like that Confederate flag waving meme, like caricature. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I thought was going to be more prevalent. Like if that makes sense. Like I didn't think all Americans were going to be like that, but I thought a bigger percentage than like 0.5 were going to be like that, And so that was a positive experience. Only having to interact with like, 5 or 6 of them. But what's the next question? Are there any cultural differences in the day-to-day life that make things hard? You guys really don't like the word cunt. And I know that sounds real weird and frivolous. And given it's nearly been a year, I should probably have learned to stop saying cunt casually. But like straight up, my mum uses the word cunt in conversation. Like my mum will be like, "Hey, how was your day, cunt?" Like as you walk in the door. And it's literally not like, it's just a word, like it's the same sense of like there's just not an issue in Australia for the word, like unless you are of that part of society where you're professionally offended, you know what I mean? But it's like all the oppression Olympics and everyone's got a reason to be a fucking offended and stuff. Like unless you're one of those fools, the word cunt is just not an issue in Australia, and it is here in America. Like it is like people, like you can't say it in some circumstances, and that's just like there is not a circumstance back home in Australia in my everyday life, like because I have catered. I've done all sorts of things, like I wouldn't go to a family member's house that didn't like the word cunt back home, but there are no family members here that like the word cunt. So, like that is a thing. I think also just swearing more broadly as well. Like, I feel like swearing is used for different purposes. I feel like back home swearing is used for emphasis, and here it's used as a weapon or an insult, you know. But I think in also like I'm trying to think of like bigger cultural differences, like sport as well. Like if you like you know, like if you like art sports team, right, in Australia, if you like Aussie Rules, the sport, and you're a Giants fan, you're probably not going to get into this big vocal argument at a pub about somebody who goes for the Swans, you know, the next team over or something. But here in America, like your universities, like that's fucking, your parents pick your team for you when you, like, that's the thing as well. Like, who's my kid going to go for? Do I have to buy my kid Bills gear now? Like, do I have to buy Bills onesies and shit because we're near Buffalo? I haven't picked a team. How do I pick one for the kid, you know? Anyway, it's there are some cultural differences, and I think that the political ones are the biggest ones. The guns one I don't get, and you know we'll move on and we won't get back into that tangent. Absolutely, but like it's the biggest difference I think, or the most I keep going to touch my microphone, but the most unexpected one was I didn't realize just how American focused America was, if that makes sense. Like, it's a very isolationist sort of place, while at the same time not being isolationist at all, you know. Like, they bankroll NATO, they fucking bankroll the UN, they fucking bankroll like pretty much every, you know, universal multi-country good social thing. It's pretty much definitely funded by America, or it was founded in America, you know. Amnesty International, the Red Cross, like everything. I'm going to blow my nose again. Give me a sec. But like, it's yeah, as I was saying, I'm back now. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, the fucking Americans, yeah, what's the biggest cultural difference I think is Americans not realizing that America isn't the only place that exists. And I know that sounds like I'm putting shit on America, but and you know, you guys here in the comments section are not the type of people I'm talking about. But you would be, honestly, like, you would be surprised the amount of people that, you know, like you'll be talking about history and they'll say things like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, the Civil War, blah blah blah, and I'll be like, which fucking Civil War, cunt? Like, there have been a lot, you know. And they'll be like, oh, the American Civil War, and I'm like, man, we were talking about French history. Like, what do you mean, oh, the American Civil War, as if I should just supposed to know? Like, there have been many, and that's not even the content, you know, like just stuff like that where people forget that this isn't the only country to exist, if that makes sense. And also, like, the overestimation of the size of America. That's not so much something I interact with every day, but when I talk to people that have traveled and all that sort of stuff as well, it's like you guys think that the country is like way bigger than any other country or something, and it's like, that's just not the case. Like, Australia is wider. It's not quite as big tall wise, but Australia is wider, and it's an island in the middle of a fucking ocean, you know. Africa is massive. Like, that's, yeah, your maps are weird, man. Like, your maps, you guys have different maps. Like, which, I know that sounds dumb, but on the maps I grew up looking at, and the maps that I could buy at a 7-Eleven or a convenience store in Europe, or like they're a world map, and they have the world on them. And America's like over there sort of thing, but it's a geographical, like, yep, and you could, you know, like, but the maps here, America is bigger than it actually is, and it's in the middle every single time, you know. And I get that, like, you gotta, you give the map for where you're at and all that, but like, you don't have to fuck with the scale. America is nowhere near as big as Africa, nowhere near. Like, we're not even talking, like, it's not even close. Right, like, I'm gonna find the exact numbers, right? Because looking at an American map, you would think, oh yeah, America and, America and Africa are the same size, right? What should I be looking for? The total, what's the word? I haven't done maths in long enough. Total, like, perimeter distance, I'm going to do. Total perimeter distance of USA. The greatest distance on a great circle route entirely within the 48 contiguous states is 48 what? 48? All right, whatever. The greatest distance entirely within the 48 contiguous states is 2,008. I think that contiguous means something.
48 because they're discounting Alaska and Hawaii.
Ah, they're discounting Alaska and Hawaii. Yeah, that makes sense. Duh, because they're not actually connected. Fucking idiot. I'm a dumbass. But yeah, anyway. Entirely within the 48 states is 2,802 miles. That's straight. Greatest. No, that's got to be wrong, surely. How many miles is the perimeter of the? It's close to 11,000 miles, and I think the shoreline distance is closer to 50,000 miles. All right. What's the, like, so many maths that's better than fucking 48 inland? Yeah, sorry, you guys all got there before me. But like, what is it? Like, what's the word? It's not parameter, but the actual ness in it, like the mass of it. I don't know. But anyway, we'll do perimeter of Africa next. Circumference. Yeah, I think that's what I'm talking about. So, like, for total perimeter distance sort of thing, right? But what's the like the area? That's it. Total area. Fucking boom. Total area of US landmass, right? Total area of US landmass is 3.797 million square miles, right? So I'm gonna write that down. 3.797 square, million square miles. Okay. So now we're gonna do that with Africa. Because I'm saying it's not even close, right? But maybe it's because of the maps I've been watching, right? Yeah, there we go. 11.73 fucking million. 11.73. It is more than 3 times bigger, right? And million square miles. And every American map I have, they're the same fucking size, and America's in the middle. Like you can't just do that to a country. Like, how do you? And I mean, that's not Australia, that's Africa, to be fair, right? Australia is, let's find Australia, what the actual mass is there. But like literally, I'm going to find Australia, and I reckon it probably won't be that far off America as well, because we're the same width, we're just not the same length. Yeah, there we go, 2.97. So we're only like 0.7 million miles away. But we have a country of 24 million people, and we're pretty much just as big, right? But in every single global map I have ever seen, it's had Africa in the middle, and it's been fucking huge and ginormous. And you've gone, yeah, that makes sense. That's apparently where all life started and all that sort of stuff. And then we left there. But then you look at an American map, again, maybe I'm wrong, and you can tell me if you weren't, right? But like, if I am, but I reckon it would be news to most Americans that Africa was more than 4 times the size of America, or like more than, was roughly 4 times the size, That place is fucking massive. But yeah, that's the lack of knowledge about your own country. I think that's the biggest misconception I had. Like, that's the question 2 is question 22 is biggest USA misconceptions, and were they correct? Like, I was fairly certain that the majority of America would realize or would know more about American history. Like, I tried having someone explain to me the Electoral College and the process of delegates and how a candidate earns a delegate at a caucus versus a primary. And like, I legitimately, straight up, and this isn't like, I'm not trying to be offensive to anyone that I know or that I love or anything like that, you know what I mean? But there was not a single person who in person could describe to me how the voting system works. Like, and that sounds like I'm being reductory and stuff. And it's like, the people would say, oh yeah, well, I could tell you broadly, but I wouldn't be able to tell you about, caucuses versus primaries, or delegates versus Electoral College, or why this is the case, or how or when. And it's like, I don't know if it's because there's no compulsory voting or what it is in that sense. Like you can be disengaged, and a lot of political people in America and a lot of political institutions in America have historically benefited from people being disengaged, right? But it's like I wasn't expecting that level of to not even be able to explain to me how the system works. Like that blows my mind, you know what I mean? But that's again, I grew up in a very politics focused family in a very small country where you could sort of be like, yeah, well, 1 + 1 = 2 with organizations like the CIA and the FBI working against each other and with each other and interwoven and stuff. There's a lot of shit that you can't know, I guess. But it's like it's interesting, you know, like how many people are just happy to plod along and live their lives, you know, sort of like I was saying before, like dolphins or silverbacks, you know, where they're not really thinking and pondering too much. They just go from decision to decision, living. There are a lot of that type of person here, and I don't mean that in a insulting way. You know what I mean? Like if I could turn my brain off, I would. But like I don't understand how there isn't that deep dive analytical brain into politics, but I think maybe there is with local politics, and that local politics is actually where all the main, like the oomph, that's where the political chutzpah is, you know, is in local politics as opposed to broader national level stuff, which is different from Australia to America. You know, like in Australia, we rely on the federal government to make sure that the lowest common denominator or the weakest link is as strong as it can be, and that there are national rules that align all states across each other. Like the only reason we became a country, the only reason Australia became a country at all was to stop the influx of Chinese migration due to several different gold rushes and several different gold rush booms. And again, I am not being a bleeding heart liberal looking back with fucking racist colored glasses or something. There is legitimate propaganda and legitimate news sources from the time of keep the Chinese out. You know, like let's fucking write all these magic words like they did over there in America and like they've done over there in this part of the world, and let's do all these things so that we can become a country, which means we can tell China to fuck off instead of being a whatever. Like it was 100%. I'm sorry, I know it pisses a lot of people off, but Australia is literally only a country because they wanted to keep the Chinese out, right? We'd have been a colony of Britain still, probably, otherwise. And it's I don't know why I just started talking about that, but yeah, no, like it's interesting that like the different processes as we've gone and the different changes along the way, you know, like we were the first government in the world in the 1920s or the 30s to be a party led by the workers, a workers-led party that you know, a lot of people called communism, and it wasn't communism, it was democratic socialism, but we were the first to do that under John Curtin and under Ben Chifley after that. And then like we faced the fucking, you know, we got fucked in the ass something hardcore for that. Like we got our version of Reagan. We got our version of Reagan, and he was in charge for like fucking 20 something years, right? I've got a video coming on that in a day or two. But yeah, I think the biggest positive and negative experiences is just it's life. There's big ones and small ones, but I'm enjoying America much more than I enjoyed Australia. The people that are engaged are passionately engaged in trying to make things better for themselves and their people, right? But there are far more disengaged people than I thought there were. And those disengaged people, unfortunately, also happen to be ignorant most of the times, you know? And so it's much easier to get a disengaged person to pay attention for 2 seconds by scaring the fuck out of them and pointing and going, yep, that's the thing that scared you, than it is actually getting them to pay attention for long enough for you to explain in a, you know, what someone, you know, the benefits of a thing. It's much easier to say no and get your disengaged, not very intellectual person to go, yeah, he's against that, than it is to convince someone why change is good or why no is not the answer, if that makes sense. Like, so it's I can see how people like Trump get into power when you know, things like Middle America and the automation and all that sort of stuff gets ignored, but also he's out there going fucking, brouhaha, yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's a complex mix of things. But anyway, the biggest USA misconceptions, were they correct? Sort of, not really. Like I feel like it's as I was saying, you know, like I didn't expect that, you know, the whole redskin wearing, fucking burger eating, big fat Trump voting racist American. Like I didn't expect that caricature of person. I didn't expect that they'd be very prevalent at all, and that was correct. But I also didn't think, like I thought they. I don't know. It's like the double-edged sword. I thought they did. If they existed, there'd be more of them, or they wouldn't exist at all. And there are a couple that exist. I've only ever met one or two though. But I think the idea, the thought process that I'd be able to have a logical discussion about gun control is probably my biggest misconception, because it can't happen. People provide logical fallacies to me as if they're legitimate arguments, and I get angry before my patience runs out in civil discussion, you know, and I can't end up still being civil anymore, because I'm like, man, you've given like straw man after logical fallacy after straw man after, you know, and now we're down this tangent after this tangent, and realistically at the end of the day, yeah, there'll be some fucking, you know, there'll be some not extremes, like there'll be what's the thing that proves the rule, like the exception. There'll be exceptions in any capacity, but I'd rather my exception be a sane person not being able to get their hands on a gun than the exception be some motherfucker shooting up a school because he could get his hands on a gun. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make much sense to me. I've really got to pee though. And that's the end of those questions. So I'm going to wrap this stream up because it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. I've posted 3 or 4 videos today, so check those out. I've got Aaron Rodgers up. He's the quarterback for Green Bay, obviously. I have got, what else? I did another XFL video earlier in the day. I did a Gretzky video. I've done heaps of stuff. I put up a video about my kid as well. But of course, now I've just said I need to pee. It's like it's smashed into me. You know how that happens? Like you need to pee and then suddenly you can't move. Otherwise, you're going to piss yourself. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. As always, guys, I am going to wrap this up. I'll see you when I look at you. You'll see me when you look at me. And I'll read the comments in a bit. Cheers, guys.